I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast, set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a dead
nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
The Charlie Crawford Podcast is proud to partner with NRS. Don't forget to shop this destination for all things Western. NRS has everything you need from boots, hats, apparel, bits and spurs, saddles, ropes, feed, and more. Visit their flagship store in Decatur, Texas, as well as other locations in Granbury, Texas, and Wickenburg, Arizona. From your hat to your boots and everything in between. Shop NRS in-store or online at nrsworld.com. All right, let's get her kicked off. Thank you guys for coming on. We got very stoked about this podcast. We got Martha and Sarah Angelone, the legends from Virginia. Very excited to have y'all on. Thank you guys. I know you guys are both busy. Winter's getting kicked off, so thank y'all for coming on.
Anytime. Thanks for having us.
Very stoked about this because I think between having the two of you on, the stories talking about being able to come from Virginia, which is rare. That's very hard to come from the East, especially in certain spots where breakaway is very hard to probably get a lot of practice in, and you're not really in the mix of everybody. And then to be able to come out here and dominate like both of y'all have, I think y'all's story is great. And then just the fact that y'all are as polar opposites, it feels like it's your hair color. You know, from the fact that the results so come the same, but like how you guys both go about it, can't wait to kind of dive into that. And just how you guys made it over here. So pretty stoked about this.
Yes, sir.
So Martha, you've made the NFR 5 times, correct?
Yes, sir.
Won the world title once.
Yes, sir.
And then have just dominated in the WRCA,
yes,
or the WCRA, excuse me.
Yes, sir. The women's rodeo has been very, very well for me, and also the WCRA events. That's honestly the reason that I get to go rodeo all year and stuff. Like, I try hard all year long to nominate all the little jackpots I go to, and the bigger rodeos, like the bracket-style rodeos, like Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, everything coming up. They give away a lot of points for all of that to set you up for your year. And the money that the women's finals gives away for us, it's incredible. Like, we never thought as a all-girl team roping team that we could win $60,000 a man. Like, that's pretty incredible. Like, yes, the breakaway, I mean, we don't have the chance at that kind of money all the time, but a couple times a year. But when it comes to the team roping, I don't think girls have had a chance to rope one for $60,000, and it gets you a little nervous, not going to lie.
Yeah, because we talk about the WCRA, which is the World Champions Rodeo Alliance,
yes.
And then the WRWC.
Yes,
that's
sir.
the Women's Rodeo Championship.
World Championships. And so they're kind of aligned. Yes, sir.
But they are separate.
Yes.
And the money that they get and bring for me to you girls is astounding.
It's
because that's
incredible.
You think about if you're able to probably go to a lot of the rodeos and try to make the NFR. Yes. I always said that's probably a place where if you're winning, you can probably make a living.
Yes.
What I meant by making a living, you can pay your phone bill, pay your fuel, pay your fees. You can kind of get by.
Yeah.
But your guys' NFR really doesn't allow you to really make a huge gain. And what I mean by that, by making money, is it seems like it's almost like the team roping back in the 90s and 80s, where if you kick butt, you're just kind of at zero.
Yes.
Starting in next year. And
yes.
that's very kind of a disappointing season when it's that direction, because, when I think Kelsey Chase was the high money winner this year at $34,000, I've had vet bills sometimes at the end of the year that added up to that.
Yes.
So it's not, I'm not dissing it, but it is to where it just kind of keeps you level. So to be able to have some of those events where all of a sudden, like, you make money, what I mean by making money is now you can buy a horse, now you can pay for a rig, things like that. So what I think they're doing for y'all is really stepping up with you guys being able to have a chance to make money.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Honestly, last year, I think I was the high money earner for the women's side of it. And like, this is for every WCRA event and women's rodeo event. And I think at the end of the year, I ended up third in the world in 2023. And I think at the end of the year, the WCRA event and what I ended up in the world standings was just about the same set of money. I think I won $131,000 last year in the WCRA stuff. And I think at $140,000 for the pro rodeos. And I went to those all year.
Yep.
And I think I went to 3 actually of the WCRA events last year.
Well, when you think about when we're talking about making a living, you have to factor in tires, brakes, insurance, vet bills. You're factoring all those things in. And the one thing that I would say and fees.
And Starbucks trips with Sarah.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like Starbucks. Exactly. I wish they would sponsor me.
But when you think about, what required most of those things to wear out,
yes,
that's chasing that NFR all year. To when you talk about the WCRA, you're talking about just a few events.
Yeah,
so,
and that's
the money
cool.
you put in your pocket from one to the other. For a lot of girls that are looking to make money as opposed to chasing, certain things, that there is a difference, I think, between the two.
There's a huge difference. And kind of all year when you're out there rodeoing and stuff, you're kind of just getting by. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but like last July, I had one of the best Julys I've ever had, and I won $45,000. But it sounds great. But if you sit down and put it on paper, I mean, I go by myself all year other than the year I took Sarah. And I mean, you sit down and the numbers just aren't mathing pretty much at the end of it.
The math is not mathing on the Breakaway Pro Rodeo, and nobody could tell me different.
Well, the one thing that we'll say rodeoing is, I've been through there plenty, was that I wasn't very good at math, but rodeoing I learned how to subtract.
Yes.
Learned how to subtract very well, because when you hit that 40, you're like, yes! And then you look at all the things that are pulling on it.
Oh, yeah.
I got to fix my transmission.
Yeah.
That pulls it down. I got a vet bill, my horse colic.
Oh, yeah. The trailer's making a funny noise right now. That one time in Montana, Sarah's like, I don't think that's supposed to sound like that. I'm like,
turn the radio
man,
up.
Something's wrong. I'm just going to video it and send it to somebody that might know.
Yeah. A lot of times, if it didn't break within 100 miles, we just turn the radio up.
Oh, yeah. They said, just drive 45. You might make it. Where were we going? Bozeman? Or somewhere, and they're like, going through the mountains and everything. Yeah, just try it. Yeah, that's where me and Sarah just want to be stranded on the side of the road, but we tried it.
So, Sarah, you've made the NFR one time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you won the American last year, which was phenomenal. Watched that. That was so cool. First athlete from Georgia to win the National High School Finals Rodeo. And then also, you were the first one from Virginia to win a WPRA World title. You won the all-around in 2022,
I think so. Yes, sir.
So talk about your year last year just a little bit. So coming off of 2023, made the NFR, and then trying to get there from last year.
Yeah, I ended up 16th in the world last year, and it bothered me, for a little while, honestly. And then finally I was like, why am I upset about this? We have so many other opportunities now. I got home and I think I won like 60,000 all summer, like didn't have a great summer. The summer before that, I won almost 100,000 probably. But I got home and I went to 2 bigger ropings and one futurity and won 90,000 within, I think, like 50 days. So I was like, why do I go all summer and, stress myself out, like you said, and have everything to pay for and put 40,000 miles on a truck when I can go an hour up the road to Abilene, to like the Gold Buckle Futurity or the Royal Crown or Riata Buckle or whatever, and, win 30,000 in one day. So, I do, like, I'm not going to say I love rodeoing because I don't. I like being at home. I like training horses, but it was cool to make the finals. I had a pretty good finals and it was my first one. So it was definitely really cool to be there and, be just the opportunities we had. But you look at it, you had a good finals, you won 30,000. And then the next day I went to a roping and won 35,000 in one rope in 3 runs. So it's like, it's just crazy the payout. And, hopefully it'll get better. I think it will one day, but until it does, I think I'm going to stay at home.
Well, I will say one thing in 2023 is that, we talk about when you made the NFR, the show that you and D'Lo put on and the title bout back and forth. It was really good watching. It was very phenomenal to
Yes, sir.
watch it.
We were back there and we were like, all right, let's go 1-6, 1-7. And we were just joking around. But like, then Danny went 1-7. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to be, 1-7 or 1-9 or whatever. And we won that second day. We won every round. I won the first one. Then she won 3. And then I won the last one. And I was 1-7. And I was like, I remember that run like it was yesterday. It was crazy. Like that one, that's when I was like, wow, this is so cool to be here. And, have this opportunity to compete against all these girls that rope so good. And yeah, it was amazing. And I'll definitely be back, but it's going to be a little while, I think.
So talk about the American last year, because to me, like that's a hit. It's cool to see the evolution of a lot of these standalone events, that come out, and the American coming out and you winning $100,000.
Yes, sir. That was probably one of the best days of my life. And to be honest, the first round, I was long. I was off the barrier. I threw my rope. I was like 2-4. I'm like, I'm not even going to make it back. But I was still thankful to be there and to be in front of that, like all those people in that, showcase. It's so cool. But I ended up making it back last. They took 4. I was 4th. So I roped first in the second round. And I don't know what I was doing. I took an extra swing in the last round. Like, usually I'll ball out, but I took an extra swing and I was 2-1. And I was like,
That was an extra swing.
yeah.
Okay,
2-1.
just clarifying, because I thought you just blasted and threw your whole rope, but okay.
I was riding out and I was so happy, because I did good, but I didn't think that would win it. I mean, every year it's been 1-9, I feel like, or 1-8 or whatever. And Martha ended up breaking the barrier. She was faster than me. I thought
That's what I was going to ask was, so this is your, your run.
You see that extra swing? Because I didn't see that extra swing right there.
I see that one.
Yeah,
real fast. Extra.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how that rope
made
made it to that calf. My rope was so short, but
When isn't it?
it did make it.
It's like the length of a kid's rope.
like
Like the little chicken kid's rope, not even the other long ones.
I don't know. That was the best day of my life. Like it'll still give me chills. Like if I see that, like if I watch this video or any of the videos that everybody posted.
It didn't show up there. I thought I seen it for you, Martha, but I didn't.
I was right behind her and knew I had to be faster, and I just really didn't see the extra swing.
Yeah.
I thought the calf was running a little off to the left, and she just blasted.
The barrier was a little longer this year, though, wasn't it?
That and the barrier was a little bit too tight this year. You missed D'Lo's hand right there, by the way.
I know.
Y'all tried to have
D'Lo,
a hand clap, and y'all definitely missed.
Yeah, the reels that they have on this were, I think you're chewing your gum as you're roping.
Oh, yeah.
Looked real nervous.
I need
if
a
she
gum
does not,
sponsorship, too.
if she does not have gum in her mouth, she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
She asked me for a piece on the way over here, but the half a mile it was.
Like I think the video or the pig poster that they had at Classic there at the booth during the NFR has got a picture of you. I think maybe at the American, and you can tell you're chewing gum like literally during the middle of the stop.
Oh, yeah. I'd swallow it and choke during my run. And this one, she's blowing bubbles sometimes in the box. If the calf isn't looking, she'll either be popping her gum or have a big bubble. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, if you get a piece of bubble gum and if you can smack that thing real loud, you might be able to kind of get a couple scores. Going to get them where they desensitize it from the bang of the gate.
Look, you don't even need somebody to rattle for you at Mike's no more. You just got to get another piece of gum in there.
Yeah.
No, everybody makes fun of me about the gum, but I score better when I chew gum. So
Okay, what's your favorite flavor? Let's go with that.
I like spearmint.
You're not like a Big Red fan.
No. I like minty.
Big League Chew.
No. No.
Carry that bag around with you. Take a big old pull.
Well, what do you have in your rope bag? I got my Big League.
I could be doing worse. I could have worse habits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of funny because the first round at the American, I had Will Loomis push. And if you've never had Will Loomis push, do not have him push for you at the American because you will get smoked.
You better be heading with your nod.
He slingshotted that calf out of there. And Danny even told me, she said, you saw less than I told you to, and you were still 3 foot off the barrier. So the next round, he asked, I think Shad was on his head on the first one. And Will asked, he said, you want me to get you on the next one? I said, Will, no, thank you. Thank you for pushing, but we're going to get Shad's little butt in there versus yours. I was like, I can't get out when you push. So we had Shad push the second one, and I was a lot better on the barrier. But I'm telling you, Will Loomis can push better than anybody I've ever seen.
I needed Will in the short round there because I needed that extra inch.
Yeah, but when I saw Martha, she was 2 after me or something. She was 2 flat or something, and I was like, dang, I just won second, which was fine. I was happy for her.
So when you blasted that run with that extra swing, who was behind you?
Everybody,
because I was
like who? Was
Josie, Martha, and Jordan.
Yeah,
that was the last 4, right?
Yep.
And they all roped so good, and I was like 2-1. That's a great run, but that's probably not going to win the American. And
2 of those girls were in there for the million too. I think Jordan and Josie both were in there for the million. If I had to, I think I'm right on that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy too, because that's where like me and Sarah were seated, and then you got 2 girls shooting at a million right there, and they're going to ball out whenever you have a chance at a million, just like Jackie that one year. I mean, that was awesome. She let Ty Harris ruin the party, though, but it's okay.
Well, she didn't. He just did it.
Yeah.
So, I don't think she'd have blocked him out if she had a choice.
Yeah, but she was like 1-8, right? When she won the American?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, this year, the barrier was a tick longer.
And I think the Cavs were a little bit stronger, too.
That's what I thought.
Man, it's beatable.
I was like, 2-1, that's a great run, but not today.
Yeah.
So, and then I had 3 girls to go after me, and when I saw she was 2 flat, I was like, dang. I just won second. And then they said she broke the barrier. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. And then I had one more girl after her. And I don't know if they missed or were long. And I was like, holy smokes, I just won the American. Like, I could not believe it.
Need some gum?
Yeah, I need some gum. Of course. Thank you.
So when the 100 grand.
Now we're going to hear the smacking.
You talked about kind of what it meant, which I think is great because that's a huge hit. And you just pull them 6 figures in one rodeo. That's amazing what it does for your year. What did you do with it?
Oh God, how many horses?
I bought some horses. I still have some of it, honestly. I'm pretty good at like budgeting and saving money.
So that's why rodeoing's hard for you to do then. Because you can see that.
Yeah, because it doesn't pencil out.
It doesn't pencil out.
I'm like, okay, let's spend $150,000 to win $30,000. Sounds great. Let's go. And let's buy a new truck every 2 years and a new trailer because they get tore up going through the mountains all summer. Yep, sounds good.
I agree.
Not forget all the vet bills you have to pay and the stalls and the shavings and the fuel. Don't forget the fuel.
Yeah.
Or that one time we lost service and she was on Snap. This is a funny story.
Okay, first of all, let me just say that on Snap, your location's on, I know where you're at because I track everybody.
Well, we were going from I think Browning, Montana to Big Fork, Montana. And this is like when Sarah's this is like our first 2 weeks out there, whatever. She's like still kind of using the I love to rodeo phrase in like 2 different ways. It's not as sarcastic as it was at the end of the summer. Well, both of our phones shut off directions, or my phone shut off directions, whatever. We're in the mountain. The only thing that'll pull up is Snap Maps.
He probably doesn't even know what that is.
No, he doesn't know what Snap Map is. So she's on here, we're going through the mountains. She goes, I think in the 4th turn on the left is the turn you got to take, because it looks like there's a road that goes down to where everybody else is at Big Fork. But that was a funny deal. That's one reason she doesn't like rodeo too.
Yeah, so on Snapchat, Charlie, you can see people's location if they have it on, and you scroll over and it's like the map. Well, you could see if they were at the rodeo. So I pulled it up and I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so's here. So I'll just tell you when to turn off of Snapchat. So we got to that rodeo from Snap Maps. Shout out to Snapchat. But
yeah, that was one of the ones Sarah's like, why are we doing this? We're going to be lost in the middle of nowhere, Montana.
I'm pretty sure we were on a reservation too.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
I was a little scared. But
yeah, when we first started, it was the maps. We had the if you're big time and you're able to get the laminated map, that way you spilled coffee on it. No big deal. But the paper ones, that's when you hadn't made the finals yet, more or less. And then you got a laminated one. You got a Rand McNally laminated map. So now it does not matter. This thing will last the rest of your life.
See, Sarah wouldn't know how to read that one because it doesn't have somebody's head somewhere.
No, I would. Do you remember when growing up we would have to print off the directions to go to the rodeo? What was it called? Like MapQuest or something?
Yeah.
Like before every rodeo, my mom would ask my dad, "Hey, did you print the directions off?" Because we all had like the flip phones and stuff. There wasn't the iPhones and stuff, so we would have to print the directions off. I can actually look at a map and get where I'm going, but Snap Maps tells you where everybody's
It's
at.
a whole new level.
So you know if they're
better
at.
visual.
That's the extra laminated one nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say about Rand McNally, he did not know where the rodeo was. He could get you to town, then after that, you're on your own.
Well, sometimes when you go to the town, you're still 20 minutes away from it.
That's true. So talk about when you think about the Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway, to me, that was what I thought was basically everyone could see what the hole was in the industry.
Yeah.
It's the elephant in the room that everyone knows about, but no one really talks about. Everyone knew that, if you make the NFR, there's not really an opportunity to make money. So Kimes just steps in and basically says, all right, if no one else is going to do it, then we'll do it. So talk about what that does for the industry, what it does for y'all's plans to try to get there, and what that event was like last year.
My word for that event is life-changing. Honestly, I roped like crap there. I was trying to win every single round because we were going at 25,000 a round. And if you know me and there's that much money up, I'm going to try it. Even if I'm not my rope's length away from the calf, I'm still going to try it. Yeah, I think I hit 2 of them right in the ass, if you want me to be honest. But I ended up winning like 65,000 there. And next year they said, it might just be a rumor, but they said they're going to try to match the NFR payout. And I might nod, my rope might just go behind me at that payout. But the chance and the opportunity they're giving the girls, and not only just the top 10 in the world, how they're having us seeded, which is honestly more of a goal than just making the NFR. At the end of the year, yes, we all want to win the world. We all want to make the NFR, but we all have that goal to be in the top 5 for the American. And now the top 10 for the Kimes deal, because you can go to the Kimes deal and you can make a down payment on a house. Yeah. You can pay off your house. You can buy that horse or that rig or that whatever you've been wanting to. You can pay your bills off. That's like a life-changing event. There's a lot of girls that didn't just have the best time down there and won over 100,000. You know what I mean? Like Danny, I think she won, 105? Or was it 105 down there?
She won a lot.
Yeah. And, she was bombing out every single time. She was doing the D-Lo. You know what I mean? But, there's enough of those that connect, and it pays off in the end. And that's something I appreciate that guy a lot for stepping up and giving us the opportunity. Like, this might sound bad, but we finally needed somebody to grow a pair and give us that opportunity, because I feel like us as breakaway ropers, we go all summer. We have more entered in our event, more than any other event. I feel like if you're at a breakaway slack, it's worse than sitting at a lot of the other slacks because you're there all day. But it's finally time that we have that opportunity for that money. And I think it's cool how they seat the top 10 girls and we get that chance of that money. And then they let other girls like that. Reese Jacobs' girl, I think she's 16, 17 years old. She was 1-6 in the last round. And she won either close to 100,000 or over 100,000 down there. And I think it's cool how they give everybody that opportunity too, that doesn't rodeo all year long or is not old enough to as well.
Because I was almost thinking of Sarah's, like when she was like, I'm tired of chasing this. Because even like Jackie's like kind of in the same direction. All right, I'm going to pull back, because in a way, y'all still got, if a guy's not chasing the world title and try to get in the top 10, they take 15 girls to that Kimes Ranch finals that you can go get qualified for. And so for a lot of people, it's almost easier to just go on that route, and it's kind of either going to be your time or it's not.
Yeah.
But what I like is when it takes a top 10 in the world and then 15 other girls that had to qualify to it, it creates such a David and Goliath story.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of good stories. There's a lot of stars that were born that day. I'm really excited to see when I'm trying to get Chris on a podcast here pretty quick, and I really love to hear the numbers, like the TV, get the analytics, because I know that they said they had people calling, because I think it was on Fox Sports. So you're reaching millions of people now outside the industry that have become fans with that event. And so what they're doing to the industry and what Chris is doing and promoting it, it was, it's very exciting.
Well, and that tall tale that they always say that breakaway can't fill an arena too, that was proven down there, because I know on the last 2 nights there was only standing room.
Well, and to hear the bullshit stuff about, the fact, well, they can't sell out the South Point, so why would we have it in the NFR? Which,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a good excuse and a talking point because, for Las Vegas events, I mean, they're not going to get more tickets they're not going to sell more tickets. They already sold it out. It's already sold out to 18,000. So it's not like that's going to create anything different. But to expect the breakaway ropers to be able to sell it out on a Tuesday and Wednesday before the NFR starts, I mean, that's unrealistic as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But now you see where Kimes came in there. I think Thursday it was probably half full.
Yeah.
Friday, I think 3/4, pretty close.
And Saturday you could not.
Room only.
Oh, yeah. You could hardly make it to the bathroom up there.
And
if you
every
had to go.
rodeo knows that. Every rodeo knows that's kind of the layout. That's why they have those Saturday night perfs.
Yeah, I agree for sure. That was such a cool deal, and I really hope that I have the opportunity to be in it again next year.
Did you make it to the Kimes? Did you?
I made it. I made it there. I didn't make it out of the qualifier though. But it's still incredible for somebody like me that wants to stay home and do futurities and ride young horses every day. I went to Guthrie and got qualified through Guthrie, and I think there was 80 of us that got qualified through that. So like I said, I think it's amazing that I could still have the chance to rope for that kind of money and not have to go all summer.
Yeah.
Well, and that too, but how much did you win up there? Because she won 25,000, which it wasn't all just there because she won the open roping as well. But what'd you win? 15,000?
No, I won 27,000 that weekend. But in the Kimes,
up there in Oklahoma with that qualifier.
Yeah, in the Kimes, I won probably 15 or 16,000 just in the qualifier.
I think the rounds paid 6,000 up there. I didn't know if you were already qualified that you could enter. And then when I seen girls that were already in it enter and I wasn't entered, I felt really stupid. I was like, these rounds are paying 6,000 and I'm not in it.
I can't believe they had a roping without you, honestly.
I didn't think I could enter. But even like that, the opportunities to even qualify for an event like that, say you go in there and you're a gunslinger because they take so many from the rounds and so many from the average. Heck, you can place in one round. And some of those girls were winning 6,000 to 12,000 just out of the rounds. There's one girl from Southern Texas that I know from the UPRA, CPRAs and stuff. That Caleb Graham girl, she ended up getting all the way into the finals deal. But I think at the one in Guthrie, she was 1-7, 1-8. And a lot of people didn't truly know her yet. And then we were at a roping the other day in Louisiana. She was freaking 1-5 and 1 second in the go round. It's cool that girls get an opportunity that are just the CPRA, UPRA girls from around here too. Because before the pro rodeos, that's all we had.
Yep.
That was our glorified finals at the end of the year every single time. And now everybody's getting a chance to rope at that kind of money and stuff.
Yeah, that's the stuff that buys rigs, buys horses, and
oh yeah,
that I forgot about that too. As you think about all the qualifiers, because
oh yeah,
if everyone has a chance to make it to the Kimes Ranch $1 million event,
oh yeah,
the qualifiers are going to be huge and stacked because I would think unless you're living under a rock, anybody with a breakaway rope would be headed there.
Well, I lived under a rock apparently.
I can't
I know
were
where
there.
every backyard jackpot is, but I did not know I could enter that one.
She goes to anything that they turn the lights on for.
Oh yeah, Northside tonight, baby.
Well, I know.
The team roping, we had Boogie Ray, who knew where every jackpot was, and Luke Brown that did not miss one, and Martha would be definitely the breakaway roper in that mold.
Well, Luke's from our side of the country,
That's
so
true. That's true. So, Sarah, what is your goals then for 2025? Do they kind of change? Do they kind of see how the winter goes?
Oh, everybody says I'm in a rodeo, but I absolutely will not be rodeoing. I will go to the 5 winter rodeos, and I might go to Weatherford because I like that one.
Which 5?
Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, San Angelo, and Austin. And then Weatherford might slip in there.
Was Houston in there? I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
Houston.
So what if you win Houston? Not going to rodeo?
No.
You said you weren't going to rodeo last year, too.
Yeah,
and guess who was out there, baby?
I mean it this year.
You said that last year.
It doesn't pencil out. I am okay, what's going to make money? And when I have 15 young horses sitting at home, not doing anything while I'm, running the tires off of the truck and 40,000 miles and everything, it doesn't make sense when I can be here, the futurity side of things in the rope horse industry has exploded. And
what are some of the futurities you have your eyes on?
like we're going to go to the Royal Crown, the Gold Buckle, the one in Utah is it the American Rope Horse?
The Old West.
Yes,
Rope
that
Horse
was
futurity.
incredible. They added Breakaway last summer first time, and we
That's
went.
by a few pro rodeos, by the way.
Yeah, I will not be going, but
Salt Lake, just right.
I mean, it's like maybe an hour.
Head east over there to Cheyenne.
No.
I think you should just come out that week and help your sister, but whatever.
Anyways, that one, the Riata Buckle's great. You know, honestly,
Is
anything.
Riata having Breakaway?
Yeah, they've had Breakaway the last, I think, since they started it.
Are they this year?
I think so.
I think the Riata is the Ruby.
the
is
Ruby
the one
they
that,
quit doing it.
yeah.
I don't know. It's all up in the air. But
Somebody was calling me the other day and asking me that if cause they've been hearing that there was talk about whether or not if it's going to have Breakaway or not. I haven't heard. I just been heard the rumors about it, so I wasn't sure.
well, that one's kind of the Riata Buckle is kind of cool because like last year, the top 40 go to the short round. They split you into 2 short rounds. So even if you like broke the barrier, you were long, or you're a novice roper or whatever, you're a little longer, you still have the chance to rope for 20,000 in each short round. So, like the top 10, or they might take 20 back, not 40. The top 10 go in one short round, the top 10 go in another, and you both rope for 20,000. So, that's pretty cool, especially on young horses and stuff. But there's so many, like I said, there's so many great futurities now, and they pay so good, and they have the stallion incentives that pay so good. And that's
what
kind
about
of
team roping? Think about doing some team roping at some of them?
Oof. I should.
Because you have before in like the what is it? Not the incentive.
The intermediate. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. Or the non-pro or whatever. And I have a couple good horses. I just don't ever practice team roping. Jesse and Bev get so mad at me because they, obviously practice every day or whatever. And then I'll go to the all girl and do good. They're like, you don't even practice or ride your horse. I'm like, it's hard when I have all the breakaway horses come first. But I would really like to team rope more this year. I think team roping has so many opportunities, obviously, to pay so good. So I would like to enter some more team ropings this year.
And then what about how's this year going? You guys go to Odessa?
I did.
Absolutely
that's
not.
out of her hour radius now.
Yeah.
She's a homebody.
Who won Odessa this year?
Karen Little did. She was 1-8. I think you had to be 2-4 to place at Odessa this year.
And then you went out to San Diego?
Oh, yeah. It was 73 degrees out there.
When you think about winter rodeos,
it was warm.
They not head there.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, holy smokes.
I know. That was so nice. I was sweating in a t-shirt. I packed wrong.
How cool is that to be out there where the Padres play baseball?
That was an unforgettable feeling. And like down there, they do it special. Like you're not even allowed to walk your horse down the street. You have to get in the shuttle with the horse trailer and they drive you into the stadium. And then you get out and there's like where the baseball fields would be. There's, I don't even know how many fans, and you just get out and you're in the middle of the baseball field, and it's just such a cool feeling. And events like that stand out to me, like that one, the Honda Rodeo, all that kind of stuff. The chances they're giving us as breakaway ropers, not only to go, like, why would I ever go to freaking San Diego? Why would I go to Phoenix? I'd heard a rumor that one might be in Tampa, Florida for the Hondo deal. Like, why would I go down there? You know what I mean? But it's weird how these venues are branching out. It's not weird, but it's awesome how these venues are branching out to these stadiums and these places we never thought we would get to go to, ever.
Now, who puts on the San Diego Rodeo?
The 5C Rodeo put on that, and I'm pretty sure, which I might be lying right here, I'm pretty sure they're out of Canada.
I thought I heard that as well.
Yes.
Man, what a great job. And how in the heck did they... I mean, you think about a baseball stadium. What is that, 40,000 roughly, and then those numbers? And they sold it out on Saturday night?
Oh, yeah.
For a rodeo.
Oh, yeah. And on Sunday. On Sunday, like for the short round day, Sunday was the short round day. Like when you looked up in the stands, by the time like it was like go time, short round time, it was people absolutely everywhere. It was crazy. And like they had it where, I mean, I always love the rodeos where they fly the flag in. When they're doing the national anthem, like they did all the awesome things like that the rodeos do. They had a tremendous amount of fireworks that I wasn't ready for the first night too. I didn't know I was standing right by them when they were going off, but I was glad I was on Jesse and not Legend, because Legend probably wouldn't ever have gone back up to the arena at that point. But that's such a cool rodeo too. And like, I like how they do the last round. Like, I thought it was badass that Jackie and Josie were both 2-1, and then they can't have just...
Well, who all made the Final Four?
It was me, Kelsey, Josie, and Jackie.
How cool is that?
Oh, yeah.
And that is stacked as strong as you can make a Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what were you girls talking about going in that? Because, I mean, that's world champion, future world champion, and then there's Jackie with all hers. But
well, if you want me to be honest, I looked at Kelsey and I said, "Are you about to go 1-3?" Because I need to know now because I'm first. But it's awesome. And like, I was first out, and knowing I had those 3 girls behind me, I knew I had a calf that was a little bit stronger, and I had to try them, and I didn't do my job. And then Kelsey, she had a calf that went off to the left and barely missed him. And then it was like, me and Kelsey were out the window no times. And then it was like, Jackie was 2-1, Josie was 2-1. And then they're like, rope off. I was like, oh crap. I knew our ropes would get so dirty. So I went to go get my rope cleaner for Jackie. She's panicking. She's like, I need another rope. I think this rope's fine. Where's the cleaner at? I'm like, you're going to be okay. It'll be okay. But like, I think it's cool, like with that kind of stuff too. Like, we don't have a tie. We're going to have an outright winner. Like, let's have a rope off right now. And I like stuff like that. I thought it was really
cool for the sport of breakaway, to where you see the youngest girl coming up with the brightest future.
Oh, yeah.
And then the girl that really did, I think, in a way, kind of help pave the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's the oldest one there. And
I called her LD the other day.
That's amazing. But what a storyline.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. And like, it's such a cool experience too, because I'm not going to lie, I always looked up to Jackie and LD when I was in high school. Like, I always wanted to be that girl. I always wanted to be both of them. You know what I mean? I always thought it was so cool how well they roped and their horsemanship and how they were to people outside the arena too. Like, I always looked up to them for that. And now that I consider them family and stuff, it's so cool to be behind like every big and little win for all of them too. And then I like that I can make fun of her that she's LD now at the finals. She looked around, she goes, man, I'm really 8 years older than everybody. I said, yeah, you're LD.
She's still bussing though.
She is bussing. She just she didn't like my comment.
Well, I thought when you give props to San Diego is that I think she told me she won. She's guessing because she always says she doesn't know what. She's always going to tell me she wins less than what she does, but the Amazon packages keep on coming.
Yeah, one of the guys followed me in earlier.
Yeah. I could tell you whose name's on that package.
Oh, yeah.
But she was talking about it too. I think she said she was roughly 33, 34, maybe in that area where she won. And you think about the high money winner at the NFR.
Yeah.
Same.
It's
right
crazy.
Same. And
yeah.
So,
and that's the thing, like,
props to San Diego.
Throwing it back to like the Honda rodeo and stuff. I feel like I had one of the best finals I had all year out of all the years other than my first year. And my first year, I won 5 go-rounds and won the finals, which we didn't have an average title that year. If it was on a straight average, Jordan would have won it. But because it was 12 head in the 12th round, I ended up winning it, so I won the finals. That year, I think I won $29,000, and I maxed them out that year. This year, I won $32,000, and I feel like I did the best I could do on everything that I drew and had a great finals. Won $32,000. At the Hondo, broke out on my first calf. I won the second round. I think I won second in the last round, and I ended up winning the average with a barrier and won almost $40,000. I was 500 short of that. And that's the thing, like,
40,000.
Yeah, against 8 girls too. And that's the thing, like, being able to have events like that, that's why we can do what we do all year. And that's one reason, like, how Jackie's claiming, I know she's not going full time, but I keep joking about it. But why would you go all year whenever you can go to these certain rodeos that they have all year and win just as much as you could win going and up and down the road and beating your trailer, your truck, your horses up, everything. Just like Sarah, like, I'm not saying this, can she not hear me? But like, I don't blame her for wanting to stay home and go to the futurities. Every time she goes to the futurities, she wins at least 30,000. Like, that's something. Why wouldn't you want to be at home? I'm a homebody too. No, I don't stay there very often, but I like to be able to come back to my house every night. So why wouldn't you, if you got to spend time with your family and your horses and everything, staying home, and these amazing opportunities that are coming to us, why would you go out and rodeo all year?
Yeah, these standalone events really are, I think, shining a light in another way. And to me, I think that's what's going to help change the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very hard. You're trying not to change the culture. You're trying not to change the history and things like that. But then, it seems like then everyone complains about, well, there's no money in it. But then as soon as someone comes in to try to help do it, then they complain about that. But I think it's going to really be interesting to see if there start to be more standalone events popping up. Is that going to create some competition?
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, that's where it's so dang hard. Because, shoot, there's been people, and if there's anyone that's on the PRCA board or the over there at Las Vegas events, if I'm wrong, love to have you on. I would love to talk about it because there's so much talk about what's going on because no one knows.
Yeah.
They come out with a 10-year contract that's going to be in Vegas. They come out with it 2 years early. So basically 12 more years is going to be there. No one knows it's going to be there.
Yeah.
There's been guys that said that they talked to guys that were on the Las Vegas events board, and they talked about how, look, we've seen this coming for a long time.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
But when it come down to negotiations, neither one of the associations that supposedly represent the Cowboys and the Cowgirls brought it up.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, is that true? Don't know. That's just what people have been talking about, what people are saying. And so it's like, well, I thought Billy Bray said it really good when we're talking about fans, and the fans follow y'all all year long. You are a part of the PRCA and the WPRA at every rodeo that they will see on the Cowboy Channel. Now you're becoming fans. And then now the NFR shows up. Oh, no, now we're separate.
Yeah.
Where was the girls at? We've seen them all year.
Oh, yeah.
So she brought up a good point in the fact of, you guys have gotten set as fans. Well, then when it comes to, nope, you're not allowed in this one.
Yeah.
And then now it's separate. And so it is frustrating in the fact that it's still kind of there. It'll be interesting to see where it is 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I really, like I say, these standalone events that are just, you guys are part of the rodeo, and you talk about numbers.
Yeah.
They said the Southwest region that I think 260 some girls or something in the breakaway, 189 barrel racers for the first time ever. There's been an event that had more competitors in that event than the barrels, because the barrels has been the strongest thing in ever.
Well, and
they said 51% in that region, 51% of the contestants entered is between the barrels and the breakaway.
Oh, yeah.
And you only have 2 events, and what is there, 6 or 7 in the
7 or 8, because they have the steer tripping now at all of them
tripping.
too. But
and so y'all are the numbers.
Yeah.
And so
that's what
interesting.
Tibba tells me, because she's the secretary for the Southwest region and everything. She said if you win the breakaway straight across now, it's close to 7,500, and that's crazy to think at a college rodeo. Back in my my college rodeo days, I won. The best college rodeo I had, I won second in a round, second in the short round, second in the average, and I think I won 1,800.
Well, you think about what these standalone events like the Kimes Ranch, Hondo, San Diego, Kid Rock Rodeo, things like that are doing, is that I think it was up 49 girls from last year. So I'm talking about Portales, the first rodeo of the Southwest region.
Oh, yeah.
And they said this year the breakaway was up 49 girls.
Yeah.
So you can see where it's just getting stronger and stronger.
Oh, yeah. And
because of those events, I think.
And one thing I thought was cool about the San Diego, throwing it back to like the WCRA stuff, is they invited the top girl off the leaderboard or the top guy off the leaderboard that wasn't already in the rodeo. Like that Jordan Driver, she maxed him out over there in the barrels. She won every single round. She won the shootout round and the average, and she was invited off the WCRA list. And that's just more opportunities like with the WCRA that you get invited to big stuff like that too. And like you were talking about with the PRCA, we're blessed that they're letting us in all the rodeos and giving us a finals and everything to shoot for every single year. But it's crazy to think that if we had the finals last year, or even like the year that Sarah maxed them out at the finals in 23, she won, 32,000 that year? I won 32,000 last year. If we were in the big building, we both would have won over 200,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where, at the end of the year, the numbers matter, and that's why the standalone events work out.
I would
Yeah,
think
it
feels
does,
like a
though.
gut punch, because I mean, I'm not in it, but I'm pretty close to being in it. As you know,
You're
as much as
basically
we
in it.
follow it. And to see kind of how that stuff is being treated it's hard to, because we went through it a lot. The team ropers went through it for a long time.
Yeah.
I think in the 70s, 80s, they had a quarter of the money. Then
Yeah.
I think by the 80s, 90s, it was half the money because there's
Yeah.
2 events. Then I don't think we got equal money in the team rope and the NFR till it. And it's not like they came to save us. They didn't all of a sudden show up and go, I think the right thing to do would be that.
Yeah.
No, all the contestants had to protest.
Yeah.
They came up before the first performance of the NFR, and all of them stuck together, which was rare.
Yeah.
And said, we are not competing until the barrels and the team roping is equal.
Yeah.
And until the Cowboys came together, no one was coming to save them.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Duhon, helped. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of him, but that's
Yes,
basically
sir.
like the guy that you talked about pushing for you.
Yeah.
Kind of similar. Anyone decide they're going to walk in, they're going to leave limping.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So he did help, but I mean, you think about it, and it sucks that almost everyone doesn't kind of come together. But that's a topic for later. But I do love the fact that there's other events that are coming.
Oh, yeah.
To where you're not just stuck with one.
Exactly.
So that is pretty cool.
And just like the Hondo deal, they said that, I know I keep talking about that one, but they said that they're going to start giving us 3 opportunities a year at that one. They're going to try to have 3 of those rodeos a year, and the go-rounds paid $12,500 and the average pays $20,000.
Well, look at the venue guys are competing.
Oh, yeah. And we get to go to all these badass places. I don't know if I'm going to be okay if I go to Tampa, though.
That's going to be awesome.
I might have too much fun down there.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh,
I'd love to start seeing, like, in my opinion, I'd love to see the WCRA. I'd love to see them go east. I'd love to see them build the east out there.
Oh, yeah.
Get an NFR type season out there.
Oh, yeah.
Have an NFR in Nashville.
Oh, my gosh.
Cool
That would be crazy.
You know what I mean? You think about that, then it could be like basketball and football where you have an east versus west,
Yeah.
And it's competition.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, what about the Kid Rock rodeo? I love talking about that rodeo because, well, it is he's the baddest mother effer in the world. He's like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy I listened to my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
I actually went to a concert in 2002 where he opened for Aerosmith.
Oh, dang.
That's how long I've been like jamming, to Kid Rock.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't get a chance to go there last year because I had a clinic. And this year I scheduled all my clinics around that rodeo. So I'm going this year.
Oh, yeah.
So did y'all both go last year?
Yes.
How cool was that to be able to compete what felt like a drag race?
Go ahead. I didn't get to rope last year.
It was definitely cool. Of course, my first match was Danny, like the girl I was roping against every day at home. But that was really cool. I was late because we had never done anything like that. It's always nod your head, make sure you see the start, no matter how long the barrier is, and go. But that was on, red light, yellow light, green light, and I think for them to bring like that street light system into the rodeo world, that was so cool. And I'm just telling you, like, I got to run one calf, but I didn't even care because it was so cool just to be there and to sit there and pretty much, be close enough to touch Kid Rock when we're watching the rodeo.
Yeah.
Like, I look over and
great.
Kid Rock is sitting right beside me. Like, that was so cool. And Jelly Roll, like, we literally drove right past him. And
Didn't he sing too when we were all lined up out there, or was that after?
he opened up with him, I think.
Yeah.
But that was just that whole environment. And it was AT&T, right?
Yeah.
Just to be at AT&T,
Oh,
get
yeah.
to rope at AT&T again. Like, it's just opportunities on opportunities for
you
us.
get guys like that starting getting into it too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's the entertainment world.
Yeah.
That's where you can start tweaking some of the things and
Oh,
make
yeah.
it fun.
Even like the other.
And the crowd, he'll bring it.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Theo Vaughns, the Jelly
Well,
Rolls.
Oh, yeah.
There was some
Bob
people
Seger.
there that were sitting next to, like people we knew, and they said they didn't even know the rodeo was going on. They were coming for the they flew in for the concert.
they're gonna bring in,
Oh,
they're going to bring in more people to watch it, and when they enjoy it and like it,
Oh, yeah.
they can create
And they're
more
gonna be like,
fans.
"Oh, we need to go again." But yeah, that was funny. There was literally some people there that didn't even know there was a rodeo going on. They thought they were coming to see just Kid Rock.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, and I thought it was so cool too. Like, I mean, I thought one of the coolest events to watch was the team roping, because I thought it was
side by
sometimes.
side.
Yeah, and sometimes you would think, how are they not running into each other? You know what I mean? And like, I remember it was the first steer wrestling match. I know it was Jesse Brown and I want to say Dalton Massey, but I might be wrong on Dalton. And if if they didn't throw the steer before the fence, they were supposed to stop and they were supposed to redo it. And these two are just
kept
running
on rolling.
around.
Loved it.
I was like, oh my God, somebody's going to murder themselves in this bulldog in today. But
nobody cared there.
No, everybody just had
part of the
so
entertainment.
much
That's what
fun.
we got to remember. It is an entertainment.
Oh yeah. It was like all the contestants were just so happy to be there and be a part of something new and different. And I mean, we didn't care if we killed ourselves off, apparently, especially the Bulldoggers. But just like in the rough stock events, I was always thinking, what if they just crash? You know what I mean? I know they had 4 pickup men, but golly, I was just waiting for them to cross fields and crash or something.
Let's take a small break.
Okay.
If you're interested in coming to a clinic this year, my 2025 clinic schedule is posted on charliecrawford.training. Go there and see if we are headed to an arena near you. If you're wanting to host a clinic, I have a few dates available. March 7th through 9th, March 28th through 30th, May 30th through June 1st, July 11th through 13th, August 29th through 31st, September 12th through the 14th, September 26th through the 28th. My October is open, and November. All the details and the easy sign-up form can be found on my website under the Clinics tab. If you have any questions, email me at charliecrawfordtraining@gmail.com. I've been wondering how come they don't almost do the same thing in the rough stock. I guarantee you that's dangerous as hell, but that would be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
You had maybe you have it on the opposite sides.
Oh, yeah.
But as entertainment, I almost wondered how, because everybody that left that event last year talked about how exciting the timed event was because it meant like drag racing.
Oh, yeah.
Where literally almost every year you hear about how good the rough stock is because that's the entertainment.
Yeah.
So literally timed event was able to hold with the entertainment with that event.
I know. It was a crazy deal. Like even, I mean, I'm not just, no offense to any of the barrel racers, but I don't just usually watch the barrel racing, but I thought it was cool how they were literally running at each other. Like I don't know. It was
cool.
Yeah. It was so different and so badass that like you always want to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
And think in the stands, you could almost be bet.
Oh yeah.
Because they're match racing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, and it was so weird for us. I mean, you're a team roper, so you always have a team sport, but like us having to where like you could only have your team help you. And if you're like a person in a shell, you really had to branch out right there. You know what I mean? And it was kind of cool because people that you would never even think about interacting with, you interacted with.
Yeah.
Like bulldoggers that you'd never talked to or team ropers and stuff like that because you were all on a team and it gave you something to cheer for the whole time too. You know what I mean? Because if they do bad, then you do bad. Even if you don't even get to do anything, like you're cheering for your whole team the whole time. And it was just a cool concept on how they went through everything. Now, when we were all practicing and getting ready that morning, I think everybody was just as confused as everybody beforehand, but it was so cool once it got started. And then like Thursday, 2 days ago, we got to do the Kid Rock deal at Fort Worth where it was
what was that?
It was
like a trial? What was it?
It was, I guess, a seating for where you would be at the Kid Rock deal in May. It sounds like that's what it was, but I was really confused.
Cool too, where you kind of almost get a little bit of a practice run as well.
Oh yeah,
because they wasn't match racing yet, but at least you're kind of getting a feel of like the lights.
Well, and like last year, like I said, I was on the lowriders team last year, and Kelsey, I'm not dogging you at all because every time I talk about this, you think I am, but Kelsey went first. Well, Kelsey missed, so I didn't get to rope. That's why I was there all day and stuff, but like at that deal, both like everybody on every team got to rope. Like if you were on the team, you got to rope. So it was kind of a cool deal because me and Munsell were on the same team for the sledgehammers. And in the first half, I was second with our time. Well, they let the second section rope and Taylor blasted and she was 2-3 on the red light, green light, which is really hard. And they put your average together and that's how the team would rank and place at that one. So it was kind of cool how we did it like that as well. So it was such a cool feel though. Like I remember Shad, because I haven't done it before. I was riding Legend and I backed in the corner way too early. And Shad goes, "You still got 5 seconds." I was like, man, I thought it was about to turn green. like, you know what I mean? Like we've never done something like that before. So it was such a cool experience to get to do that and be a part of it, especially before the big one in May.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's cool, and it does kind of raise a little bit of controversy, because some people get picked, some people don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like say the NFL draft or the NBA draft, things like that. And so, but man, to get that experience, and I think there's ways you can get qualified as well. So the WCRA does have it to where if you don't get drafted, you can go through
at Corpus. They take the top 2 that aren't drafted already, and you will be able to.
What I like is the fact that at least you have a chance to get there if you don't get drafted.
Well, and their team won it last year too, and and none of them were drafted. They all worked their way into it, and that was such a cool deal.
Think about the chip you have on your shoulder, and it can fuel. It can get some fueling.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So let's go down the history. So y'all came from Virginia. We're at in Virginia.
Cross Junction.
So, if there's a statue to be made in Virginia as far as rodeo competitors, y'all should have a statue. Because
I don't
you're the
even
first
think
of
people
everything.
would know what it meant.
You're the first of everything. You're the first girls to make the NFR, first girls win the high school finals, world championships. What you guys have done is monumental. Pretty dang cool. I love it. I love that stuff. So what was Virginia like? And how did y'all get started roping?
Well, our dad actually had a midlife crisis, and he got off the motorcycles and decided it was time to ride a horse. And our mother looked at him whenever he said that he wants to start roping like he was crazy. I think, how old were we then? Probably.
I was like 3.
Yeah. Like we were really young. At this point, we were 100.
So Martha, you're the oldest.
Yes.
How far apart are y'all?
4 years.
Yes.
4 years.
Yeah.
At this point, please don't laugh at us. We were jumpers. We did the English riding lessons. Yes.
I love jumping. Like, I thought I was going to do that when I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's all we had. Like, the closest place to rope was at Ron's house, and it was an hour away, and it was team roping. I think the closest place to go to a breakaway jackpot, which was like at 80 for 2, and you might have got your entry fees back, was 4 hours from us. Yeah. Like, it was not a place
not a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, if you wanted to grow up and be one of the best, like, you had to move and get out of there. And I don't mean it in a rude way, but like, if we wanted to go to a jackpot, Dad almost had to put on one somewhere and use our calves and stuff. Like, there's not many people, like, if we went to public school for a little bit until we got homeschooled, and people would just like look at us weird. Like, if I wore what I wear now and went to school back there, they'd be like, who are you?
I actually got asked if I bull rode at school, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, I told one of my friends,
Have you bull rode?
Have you bull rode today?
I'm going to a rodeo this week, and they're like, "Oh, you're a bull rider." I'm like, "Yes, I am a bull rider." So that kind of tells you it's gotten a lot better. I can't say it hasn't, but like that tells you people don't know because it's not really
It's not part of the culture.
No.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people, I remember that's a long time ago, I knew somebody from New York, and it was like you're a cartoon character.
Oh yeah.
Like, so that's real?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
y'all really do that.
Oh yeah. If
Yeah.
you wore a buckle around, you got looked at twice. Like,
Halloween.
what is that thing?
Yeah.
Halloween?
Oh yeah. Costume every year, baby.
no, did you get that at the pawn shop?
Yeah.
Did you get that at the pawn shop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that honestly, like, that made it so hard for us whenever we first came out here, or for me personally. Sarah might feel different for her, but like, when I came out here, I got thrown to the wolves because, like, Dad would bring us out here at least once a year and stuff, other than like high school nationals and Shawnee and stuff like that.
So when y'all were growing up, team roped and breakaway. So you went from jumping.
Oh, we were barrel racers back in the day too.
Then you were
Pole
barrel
benders
racers.
and goat. We tied goat. We did everything.
We were some badass goat
ribbon
tires,
roping.
other than this one. If she had to have a life in goat tying, she'd probably have a neck brace. Still, when I tell you, I don't know what year it was, she's going to hate me for telling this story. I thought she died in the goat tying at high school, or not high school finals, but like our state high school finals. When I tell you her head hit first and then she looked like a dead fish falling over,
So
I
like
was
her feet hit her head like a scorpion.
Oh, she's scorpion. But like, she was
My
laying
head
like
was
a
like
dead
in
fish.
the ground, and I just flipped over myself.
I looked at Mom and I was like, she died. Sarah is dead.
Cowgirl down in the goats.
Yeah, she's not very, athlete right there in the goat tying.
Used to jumping.
Yeah.
As long as she has to stay on the horse, yeah, you probably can't beat her at whatever she does, but she gotta get off. Have your cameras ready.
I don't know how tight on people calf rope because I dreaded getting off and running. Like, that was the worst.
I would love to watch her get entered at the WPRA finals and the tie down roping. Might just have to do that just because.
Yeah, we grew up, we did everything. But like I said, our high school rodeos were, 4 or 5 hours away every weekend or whatever weekends we went. And then there was hardly any jackpots. There was really hardly anybody to go rope with.
So was it wet? Did it rain a lot over there? A lot of your events inside, outside?
It was in the winter. I mean, snow.
Yeah.
A lot of snow.
Yeah. I mean, we had this little dome indoor. It was not even this wide, if you want to be honest.
You could only rope calves in it.
But that's how we practice in the winter and stuff. I remember one time when we were kids, this little thing, that's the nice way to put that. We're at the top of this dome and we got to get the snow off of it
because it's caving
in. We got 4 foot of snow. Well, we're pushing and shoveling the snow and I don't remember what I made her mad about, but she pushed me off or I fell off or I don't know what, but I'm blaming her. And I got stuck in this snow doom on the side, and Dad and Mom and her are all just laughing at me, and I'm freezing, just sitting here in this snow thing, and I'm like, can anybody help me so we can get back to the job that we were trying to do right here? But that
was common.
Yeah, you know how Texans kind of freak out whenever we're gonna get an inch of snow. Yeah. We still went to school when there was 2 foot of snow back home, so that was just something we grew up and was used to. We can't say that our snowboarding or our skiing or our sledding shows any of that, but that's what we grew up in. That's what we had to do chores in every day. We'd get in an occasional fight and throw each other in the water trough when it was freezing, but that's how we handled stuff back in the day.
So no sports? You guys just wanted to be around horses, just wanted to rope, ride, jump?
Not an athlete.
Our mom actually coached softball, basketball, and volleyball, and we didn't do any of it.
I play. Okay, let's just say this: I played t-ball for a little bit, and my mom showed up to practice, and I had an ice bag on my nose, and Mom goes, "What happened?" I said, "Well, I thought I caught the ball. I moved my glove, and then it hit me right in the deal. That's why I have this little indentation on my nose right here." So that's about all my sport career. I mean.
At least it's something you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was kind of like Thanksgiving out here, or not Thanksgiving, but the NFR party out here. Yeah, when Kelsey ran her over with the dodgeball, that's about how our sport career went.
I wish I would have played basketball. I think basketball's so cool, and I'm tall enough. And I am athletic, even though you said I'm not. I can run, and I'm athletic.
You think you can bob and weave all through there the whole time? I think
it's like
you
pole
would.
bending.
Yeah. Do we need to talk about that one time in the barrel race when you jumped over the second barrel coming home? It went flying.
Well, we got to mix the hunter jumper with some speed.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you
Can
what.
we go fast and jump?
Oh, she did. I wish that was when we still had the camcorders or the video camera back in the day. And all I remember is Mom videoing, and she said a few choice words. Whenever Sarah's coming home and her barrel horse clears the second barrel and Sarah just goes flying. Okay, another story. Here we go. So whenever since we were 4 years apart, I think I was I don't know, for the junior high, I was either a vice president or something in that deal. Well, I got the pleasant job of holding the goats for the junior high girls.
They held the legs. I don't know if they do that everywhere, but
this thing.
I came in hot every time.
She took me out one time. I'm still trying to hold the goat's legs, and she plowed me over in her get off, landed on top of me, and the goat's legs are probably this high in the air, and she's trying to tie them, and I'm just wiped out. I said, if Sarah is ever on my side, I'm switching. I'm not doing that again.
I would come in hot and I would fly off and I would try to hit them every time. Not on purpose. I was just coming in hot.
And a little bit of bowling ball mixed with getting off the horse.
Oh, yeah. And she tied with a man's string, too.
A picking string.
She would tie with a picking string every single time. Wouldn't tie with a goat string. So you had to watch out with your hands and her.
So when you girls went to high school rodeos, when you guys traveled together, what was that like? Did you guys get along? Did you guys always had each other's
Honk
back?
the horn. Do we have a horn?
Well, honestly, in high school, like, our parents would keep us pretty in line, but no, we didn't get along. Like, we kind of got along.
Look, it got better when we moved away from each other. And we learned, because whenever she first came out to college and stuff, about a year into it, we tried to live together.
Yeah, we can't do that.
It's just better off we have our distance.
You guys think a little differently. You almost kind of like how you rope a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's like our hair color, our roping styles, our horse choices, everything.
I feel like
way different.
in high school we got along good. Like, we would fight, but like our parents would kind of keep us.
You had a referee.
Yes.
Yeah. They just pull the hair and say, get over it or go at it. And Mom thought she raised a bunch of boys, but it's okay.
But yeah, I think
remember
we got
when-
along
So
better.
the Italian would pop out.
Yeah.
Spots.
It's like, okay. She comes out. She wants to go to the 4th of July rodeos down here one year with me. How old were you? 17?
Probably.
I don't remember exactly. We had it out. It was actually, I think Andrew Wong was watching us from Grant Smalley's front porch.
We were fist fighting.
We're fist fighting. And he calls Grant and he goes, should I stop him? And Grant goes, no, this has been needing to happen for a minute. But if you see any blood, then maybe you should pull somebody off. We showed up to the 4th of July rodeos. When she punched me, she broke my glasses into my nose, so I have this cut right here.
So between the softball and Sarah's right hook.
I have a hell of a nose story. And I had a cut across my nose. I had a black eye. I don't know.
I had nothing because you couldn't touch me.
Do we need a reenact, baby? He's got the boxing gloves.
This one I really wish we had the camera. This one needed film.
Yes.
We needed to film this.
This one did. But
you can practice on Bob over there. Just kind of show me what you're talking about.
Oh, you'll see her. This is her punch.
It hurt you.
It damn sure broke my glasses, that's for sure. But we showed up to the 4th of July rodeos. Everybody's wondering, like, did you all get in a wreck on the way there? Did something happen? No, we just thought we should duke it out before we spend time with each other for 2 weeks stuck in a trailer. Our truck even broke down on that trip. We were stuck in Mescalero, New Mexico.
So what started that fight?
There is no telling. I probably had her boots or something on her.
Isn't it crazy how when you think about it and you're like, well, shit, I don't really even know.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you ask us anything that has been any of our fights for the last 10 years, I could not tell you, but I could tell you the good story that came out of it. But
it was probably just the fact of all the things that led up to it was just all it needed was one little spark, probably, huh?
Oh yeah,
I probably had a pair of her shoes on or something, and she just said, all right, today's the day we're balling it out. You do not wear my boots ever again.
It just
this is a teachable moment.
Yeah, it just happens like that sometimes. Sisterhood,
So Martha, you'd be the one that came out here first,
yes,
being the oldest. What made you basically have the drive? What was it to where did you come here to college?
I actually went to Oklahoma for school. And
So you made your way east or further west, basically
Yes.
getting the central side by probably college rodeo.
yes,
So did you have a scholarship?
yes, I had a full ride. I did my college career way backwards, but I had a full ride to Western Oklahoma State College in Altus. I went there for a year. Then I went to Alva for 2 years, and that's a university. And then about this time, Sarah's looking for a school to come out here because it's about the time she graduates. Well, I went from the university, and I came back down here and went to Weatherford Junior College. And then I kind of just
You
stayed.
kind of almost used college as a way to get in this direction.
Yes. And not going to lie, I liked Oklahoma and stuff, but it just wasn't exactly what I wanted yet. Like, I loved the area and the roping and all that kind of stuff, but I wanted to be in Texas. I just was working my way down here.
What was the appeal of Texas? Where the opportunity is?
Yeah, I'm like a crackhead when it comes to jackpots, and
So not as many jackpots up there as what you wanted.
yes.
Here's where they were all at. We got to get down here.
Yeah, if we can go to 5 a week, I'm in. So that's me.
That'll help with the addiction.
Yes. And the sad thing is, though, is when I first came out to school, I mean, I remember a time, this is kind of embarrassing, but I had to go pay for lunch one day with quarters because I was so broke. Like, I had 2-3 jobs all through my college career.
What were some of the jobs you had?
My favorite job was bartending. That was my favorite job I ever had. I waitressed a bunch and everything. One of my jobs in Altus, I used to be like a part-time, like I'd help clean saddles and everything in this leather shop down there. I worked at the sale barn. I enjoyed that a lot. They always had the best food all day. You know, you get there at 5 a.m., which is not for me, and leave at like 12. And I would get to ride my young horse, and I would loaded trucks in and out all day. I did stuff like that. But I really enjoyed bartending. After I got my clientele and stuff around Weatherford, like I always made really good money. I like to talk crap, and that's kind of my thing. And I loved doing it. I hated whenever, which I mean, I guess I don't hate it now, but I hated whenever they got added into the pro rodeos and I quit my job and stuff, because it was kind of like a part of me. Like I would go work 3-4 days a week and at least make $200 to $300. And on the weekends, I'd make close to $500 sometimes, and just working. So
What, Sarah, what got you out here? College?
Yes, sir. I
So
went
from high school, I'm guessing a full ride somewhere.
Weatherford. I went to Weatherford.
So you ducked Oklahoma, you went straight here.
I do not like Oklahoma. Sorry for all the Oklahoma people listening. I went to Weatherford for Johnny Emmons. I rodeoed for him. It ended up being 3 years. We had that COVID year. It was kind of weird, so we did another year. And then I went to Tarleton for 2 years under Mark, and I graduated with a bachelor's in animal science. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I got it. And I have an associate's in art, I think. But I did finish, and I do have a degree. So I got to college rodeo. It ended up being 5 years because of the COVID year. They gave it back to us. So we ended up going 5 years, and that was about all I wanted to do. But I had fun, and I'm glad I did it.
So when both of you came here, you both always we talked about it. Sarah, you're a lot more probably passionate with the horses, futurities, things like that. Martha, rodeo, get after it, many places you can go. When you came, Sarah, to college, what was the drive? Was it the rodeos? Would you want to be here, in the culture? Was it here so you can be able to futurity? What was your drive to Texas from Virginia?
To be able to rodeo, I only had 2 horses, and I had absolutely no money when I lived out here, or when I moved out here. And I didn't train a bunch of horses yet. I had trained a couple in high school just to kind of have some money, I'd buy them for $3,000 or $4,000 and flip them for $10,000. But when I got out here, I realized that I didn't have the horsepower that I needed. I had 2 horses that were good in Virginia, but when I got out here, I realized they sucked. So, they helped me win a lot there and do a lot of things. But when I got out here, I really realized that, man, I'm going to a jackpot and I'm competing against Larry D. Guy, Jackie Crawford, and all them, and I'm on a dink. So, I had to sell them for absolutely no money. And I was working, 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, going to school. Helping Martha, waitress, never do that again. Oh,
can we please tell your waitress story?
No, but
please make her tell the waitress story. It's hilarious.
Let's hear about waitressing.
Mentally, I can never go through that again.
First time Martha seen her almost swallow her gum.
Oh, this story. Have you ever seen those movies where the plates go up in the air and then the food falls over?
Somebody mopped the dang floor and threw the mat back on top of the wet floor. Well, I have 3 plates on each arm, and I'm in a hurry.
I don't know about on each arm. I think that's over-exaggerated.
It's still a great story.
I come around the corner, hit the wet mat. The mat goes flying. I go up. All the food goes up, and I'm laying on my back like this. And Martha's looking at me laughing, and I'm about to cry. It's like, I hate this job.
Where I bartended at, you could see when they went out to waitress on the food. And I was like, oh, my God. She just ate crap, and there's food all over her. She's going to kill me.
Anyways, that was a bad time in my life. I hope I never have to do that again. But I just kind of got to where I would, buy some prospects, and I really found a love and a passion for training horses. I think after I trained 1 or 2 and realized I could do it, and they are good horses, and people wanted to buy them. I know that sounds bad.
Was there anyone you worked under? When you came out here, did you get to go ride with anybody? Did you get to go work for anybody that was there?
Honestly, not really. When I started going to find these prospects, I got to ride with people that had them. And I would take lessons from some of some reiners and some cow horse people.
The ones you were looking at, they were That's what they did then.
Yes.
So when you went and looked for horses, they were reiners. Cutters.
Yes. So I got to kind of like, I bettered my horsemanship. And then anybody can tell you, obviously, that trains a horse, it's trial and error. So like, yeah, there was some things on some of them I wish I wouldn't have done, or some things I wish I would have done. But I just like, to look at where I was when I moved here and where I am now, it still blows my mind that I even have, you know, more than one good horse that people want to buy or whatever. So it's crazy to me. Like I said, we moved out here with nothing, and we, you know, haven't been blessed with the financial support that a lot of kids have these days, or, you know, a lot of people. Like, we had to literally do it ourselves. And, you know, we have
What do you think you learned from that? Because I've heard that's talked about so much, is that if I didn't have to go through that, basically scraping the bottom of the barrel, I wouldn't have become the person that I am today. So what do you feel like when you came down here, both of you came with no money? What do you think that created? The work ethic, how do you think that created who you were? Because to be able to be where both of you all are at now is where every young girl right now is trying to aspire to be.
I feel like, you know, it makes you a better person in the end when you don't have all the resources that you could want and have, and it makes you want to work for it. You'll really find out if this is what you want to do, and this is how it really determines how good you want to be and how far you want to go. You know, there's a lot of people that say they want to do a lot of things, but when it comes to putting in the work, they don't have the drive, or they don't have the, you know, whatever. But you can do whatever you want and whatever you set your mind to. It just depends how driven you are. And I feel like, you know, I always felt like I could do it even if I didn't have the money or the resources, but we made it work. And, you know, still we're making it work. You know, everything's not perfect even now. And we're still, you know, trying to train horses. She's trying to rodeo. We're just trying to do the best we can, you know, and grinding it out. And I think work ethic is one thing we were both blessed with. And we continue to try to be better every day.
Where do you think the work ethic came from?
Probably our parents.
Yeah.
Our dad pushed us pretty hard when we were young, and our mom too. Like our parents probably.
Both of our parents were always very hard workers. Mom was a college professor, and she also would take wedding photos. She also had a lab business. She had 3 businesses just at the house. And my dad, he was one of the head guys at like a molding manufacturing company. So like anything made of plastic, like Dad probably made the mold for that to get made. And he was one of the guys that was very high up there, and he would work his butt off. Though there would be so many days that we didn't see him because he had the overtime hours and stuff with the company and everything. And I think that's what, like, I look back and the days I had to work 3 jobs and would hardly sleep, and I would still find time to try to rope and everything. I think back now, and it almost, like, a lot of times, like, when we have those big moments, like, you'll see me accidentally tearing up in the back, not gonna lie. But it's because I'm happy that I'm finally at where I'm at. Like, those moments mean so much more to me now because I had to work so much harder to get there. You know what I mean? Like, our parents blessed us with so many things and everything, but like, we weren't the kids that whenever they got out of high school, oh, here's a place, here's a rig, here's
hundreds of thousands of dollars of horses.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the horse I came out here with, I'd be lucky if you didn't buck me off every single time. That was another nose deal too. One of the college rodeos, I was 2-4, made it back to short round, broke my nose, but it's all good
because he was bucked.
It's all good, but like, that's,
You almost need a football helmet.
you know, I've thought about it. You know, I've
Got
thought
a Packer helmet
yeah.
down below. We might need to.
Oh yeah, might need to
Look into
borrow
that.
it. But like, nowadays, it's so cool that like, I don't have to get up and go to a job all day. Like, I can get up, do what I need to do in the morning, and then I get to enjoy going out and roping during the day. And like, I find so much pride and joy in that, and getting to go to however many jackpots I want to go to, even if I shouldn't go to it. But like, that's something like, I like having the freedom to do that now because I did put in all the time to get to where I was at now. So
My opinion of what's so great about your all story is that you think about the debunking of excuses that you hear of so many people talk about. Well, I
Yeah.
could do that if I had the money.
yeah,
Well, there's plenty of people who didn't.
yeah.
I think I came out here with 500, and the front of my truck was smashed in because I hit a concrete pole a couple weeks before that.
Was that trying to run over your sister?
No, gas stations will get to you sometimes, you know.
The trailer I came out here was a stock pipe trailer, and the left back tire blew on it like 5 times on the way out here because the axle was bent. But like I didn't have money to buy anything else. And like I said, the 2 horses I had sucked. Like barely had money to feed them and take care of them. So just like to think back on that kind of stuff, like there was times I'm like, how am I going to get to work? I don't even have money to put fuel in my truck. So
there's that one time we caught on fire after we left work too.
Yeah, Martha never got an oil change or anything, and her wondered why her truck would always catch on fire.
It was broke. I priorities: enter the rodeo or get an oil change.
Eyelashes or
no, I didn't even get eyelashes back then. My nails weren't done. Nothing.
Anyways, like it is cool to think about like how we started with nothing, and now like you said, I have 15 horses, and I can't believe that I own most of them and all that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely different though. Like I appreciate like at the beginning you always wonder why sometimes that you didn't get just handed everything, but now I appreciate it because I know what it took to get here, and I had the work ethic and she had the work ethic to take the risk and the steps that you had to work your ass off to get to the top.
Because it is cool where both of you guys did take a little bit different journeys to get to where you guys were able to get to the top. So when you started, Martha, chasing the NFR, so you're out of college.
Yes.
And I think it was probably, I would guess, probably pretty close by the time you got out of college. That is probably when the boom kind of started for the breakaway, started becoming more rodeos.
Yeah.
First NFR.
I'm a little bit older than that, but yeah. It was actually, I guess, the year that the finals was the first year was when I was 25. So it was 2 years after I got out of college. And actually, that's like the year that some of the girls went out in the summer and went to some of the summer rodeos that they had it and everything. And I actually won 3rd at Fort Worth that year and won like $12,000. And I would just go to the Mesquites and all the rodeos around here and stuff. And I ended up making the finals. I won a bunch. Like that's when ever like Stephenville and all those started getting added. And I won a bunch of those rodeos that year too, and got lucky, made the finals, and ended up reserve that year.
So when you made the finals that year, talk about that. So to come from Virginia, never had breakaway before at the finals ever. You're coming down here to breakaway, and at that point in time, realistically, you're going to be a glorified going to amateur rodeos. You better make the most of your college degree because that's probably what you're going to have to do, and you're going to get to rope for fun at the amateur rodeos.
Yeah,
you get out here chasing that dream, and then it kind of starts becoming, holy crap! They're having it at the NFR. They're having the same place where actually their main people are getting to go. So what was it like? Because where was it at? It was at
Arlington that year.
Globe Life, wasn't it?
Globe Life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so when you get to go there, it's the same place, same everything. What was that first NFR like? Coming from the waitressing to the everything that you did to be able to be at that first NFR.
I'm going to tell you that I will never forget. I have the song on my phone now, but whenever we were walking down a tunnel, they were playing this Miley Cyrus song, and it was called Midnight Sky or whatever, but it just... I don't know what, it was that first NFR feeling when you were walking down the tunnel and getting to experience that. And that's the song I walked down there to. And whenever we stepped in Globe Life, I was like, man, this is really happening. Like, we're on one of the biggest stages you could ever possibly be on right here. And we have the chance to rope at the NFR. And I'm going to tell you, the horse that I rode that year, I can't believe I won the average that year, and I haven't won it since because that was probably the worst horse I've ever rode at the NFR. But like, he's just my glorified practice horse, gets as many as I need a day now and stuff like that. But it's crazy now to even realize from the first year to this year how different everything is. But the opportunity that moment presented to us changed my life and changed my career, and that finals was one that I'll never forget. I remember you even had to stand in the box with me a couple times because I couldn't even get my horse to stand there in the corner because he was so nervous. That horse, little background behind him, I bought him for cheap.
Did he break your nose too?
No, that one had... I cannot jinx myself because he likes to buck. So I don't want to jinx myself. But like, this is where we were at whenever we were going to the finals that year. I'd have to run one in the practice pen and I'd have to back him to the box because we really don't know straight lines anyway. That's why, we like to V away from the calf, but it would make the time pop or the rope pop faster.
Right. That's what it's after.
But, we really didn't know what to do when we had to walk in the back of the deal and turn around and not just back in the chute and all that. But like, it's crazy to think like that's what I rode my first year at the NFR. And then in 2024, I'm riding one of the best horses that you could ever own at the NFR. You know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff comes so for real for not even just the pro rodeos, but the opportunities that we get now. I wouldn't be in any of these shoes if it wasn't for that.
Well, and thinking about too, and I'm not saying this because Jackie's my wife, but I do know that for so many girls, that was one of the girls between her and LD you talked about looking up to. And then at the end, being able to basically go toe to toe with her.
Oh yeah, that was
for the
so
first
much
breakaway world title ever for PRCA WPRA. So how cool was that to be able to stand your own?
I wish I wouldn't have broke that barrier in the 10th round, but that was such a cool moment because just like I said, I looked up to all those girls, even JJ, all them. They were all in the finals that year. Like everybody that I always looked up to that I thought was the best ropers, I got to go 12 head against that year. And it was just a so unreal moment for all of us. And all of us were just so happy. But it was cool that we had 10 go rounds or 12 go rounds technically that year, that we got to rope with the best girls that there was in the world and go head to head like that. And now, even though that year it was a kind of different path for everybody to get there, nowadays it's cool to get to go to all these big rodeos. Like, hey, we're at Houston. I'm roping in the set. I mean, let's just say we're all in the same set. Like, it's cool that we get that experience because that's like once in a lifetime rodeo. Like, I know Jackie said on Jordan's podcast about the Christmas tree at St. Paul and stuff, and that kind of made me laugh when I was listening to that. But that was one rodeo I've always wanted to rope at. Not because I wanted to run into the trees like the team ropers or anything, but like, where do you think you would go that they'd put Christmas trees up in the arena and you'd get to rope and people would think it's cool? Like, you know what I mean? But it's
and
just...
not only that, when you get there, the electricity.
Yeah.
The
like
freaking sold out crowd that's in there.
It's crazy. It's like almost in a little outdoor dome is how I felt like whenever I was in that rodeo. And it's just like stuff like that. Like, I absolutely loved getting to be a part of that rodeo this year and stuff, and like how they keep growing us and adding us into more rodeos like that. It's just awesome experience for all of us.
What was the difference you felt like in emotion and that like I made it kind of feeling different between your first NFR and then when you won the world? Was it 2022 you won the world?
Yes, sir.
Because that was a big deal.
Yes.
To be able to make the NFR, have that first NFR, dang, you do it. But then a couple years later, this now breakaway is solidified.
Yes, sir.
Everyone knows now by 2022, there's going to be an NFR. So now everyone's going.
Yes, sir.
So when you back in there at Vegas and then you win the world title, there's no doubt that means you are the best breakaway roper in the world.
Yes, sir.
What did that feel between the two?
Honestly, 2022 was one of the best years of my life when it came to my roping career. It started off, honestly, in May. That's when I won the women's finals on Jesse. I didn't even own him yet. I was actually trying him and trying to sell him. And shortly after that, I got to start riding Legend, which is, Legend's definitely the better horse, but when it comes to which one I win more on, it's hard to pick between the two now. But that year, it was so unreal for me because I won Reno. I won the NFR Open. I don't know if it was that year that I won second in Cheyenne or the next year, but like I had so many big moments throughout the year that led up to that moment. And actually, my good horse Legend, he colicked at Rapid City in May. August. He didn't colic. He had one of the stones caught in one of his intestines and they had to remove it. So I didn't get to take him to the finals that year, and technically I took my second string, which was Jesse back then, which he was still young, but it was one of those moments that like I wish I would have had my best horse there, but to knowing that he gave me such a head start that whenever I nodded my head at the finals, I didn't have to win a dime to win the world. It was such an unreal feeling. Like it was a feeling of such like an accomplishment throughout the year, and that finals is one that I'll absolutely never forget. It was one of the funnest finals I've ever had. I think I won 2 go-rounds and placed in a bunch of go-rounds, but not going to lie, the first calf, I don't think I touched him at the finals, but it's just
I remember once you got warmed up, you were teeing off.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Your timing was coming back. I think one, like you reached maybe on the left side of your horse's head.
Oh, yeah.
The
one that I was 1-8 on, I still haven't seen that calf
was just
today.
making plays. That was right.
Yeah.
You could tell you started getting comfortable, started getting in a rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
That is one good thing, it seems like, about roping 5 in a row.
Yes.
You can get in a rhythm.
Yes.
It is hard sometimes when you have 23 hours and 59 minutes for the next one.
Yes.
That
exactly.
gets hard. But like if you can get into a rhythm, man, you can keep it rolling.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like there at the end.
And
there was no doubt at that year. Like,
oh, yeah. And that was fun. And that was like kind of like this year, too, which it was a knife fight at the finals this year. There was so many girls that had a chance of the world title.
How cool was that? And there was 6 of you, if I remembered right.
Yes. And that's what, like I was
Shelby
saying.
came in with the world with the lead.
Yes. And then Josie, Jackie, Taylor, no, Kelsey.
Munsell and Taylor.
Yeah.
And then you.
That's the same person, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Munsell and Chase. So yeah, so Kelsey, and then
me.
Because you were, if I remember right, you were outside the top 5.
Yes, I was, and I had to get my goal
because you were like the last one. I felt like on the line that maybe had a chance.
Yes,
because there's not much money there.
No,
you know
like you have to max them out.
When you get there, there's only kind of a handful of girls that really do have a shot at it.
Yes, sir.
And so you knew, like when you come in at 6, where you were at money-wise, you were going to have to blast.
Yes. I knew when I was going there that I had to ball out. And my goal when I got there was to be in the top 5 to get into the American automatically. And whenever I got there, I mean, all of us want to win the world at the end. And I wanted to get my second world title, but I didn't know if I was too far out. So my goal was to take my first best shot on every single calf and give myself the chance. And when in the 5th round on the first day this year, as soon as I nodded, my calf turned its head and I pulled. And I really wish I would have just got the barrier now. I wouldn't have been late, and I got a back leg on my one calf. But the second day, whenever I knew that I thought I went out of the average, I went out there and I just balled out the second day and said, I'm going to try to make as much money as I can today. And if it works out in the end, it works out in the end. And it was kind of cool that in the end I was $3,000 away from winning the world, and it was such an unreal feeling. And I'm kind of mad at myself now because if I caught one more calf, it could have been me. But that, looking back, I wouldn't have changed anything that I did.
Yeah, the performance I thought you 5 girls put on there was it was phenomenal. Because at the end, because when we're in the stands watching it, there's no money.
Yeah.
They're not keeping track. There's no money on the leaderboards. We're not talking about how much anybody ran. And it's so fast also.
Oh, yeah.
But when it was done, we honestly couldn't, for as far as fans go, we didn't know between the 5 of you which name they're going to call at the end.
Yeah. And that's how we were down there, too. I knew backing into the 10th round, because I'm one that's kind of like a freak whenever it comes to numbers and trying to figure out what you had to do. I knew I had to win the round. I knew I had to win at least 3rd in the average, which I didn't process the fact that Kelsey, Jordan, and Macy were all 1 calf ahead of me. I thought I was 3rd in the average going into the 10th round, so I was wrong on that. So whenever I went out in the 10th round and I was 1-8, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I think I just did it. You know what I mean? Because I knew Kelsey was going to win the average. Like, there was no doubt in my mind. But I knew if she placed in the round 2, I didn't have a chance for the world. So whenever all that came down, I didn't realize I was 4th in the average in the end. And I mean, I was so happy for Kelsey. She's been one of the girls that I've looked up to since she was kicking my butt back in freshman year of college for me, back in the, what was the Oklahoma region? I don't know, but that region of the college rodeos. And I mean, coming from the Kimes Ranch deal and just winning the biggest average there, and then coming into the finals and
almost
winning
almost 20 for 20.
Yeah,
right.
I would like.
And she missed that laugh calf. That last one, the air went out of that whole freaking Las Vegas event. It was crazy.
But that tells you how badass somebody is to win 2 of the biggest averages there is all year,
no doubt,
back to back, right there.
Yeah,
and
that was cool.
She. Like I said, we were kind of further back coming in, but after the first day, you can ask Amanda and Sarah. I said, they better watch that domer tomorrow because she's going to be a sneak attack right here.
Well, I think it'd be great too for every parent to, having the kids that, if your girl's wanting to be a breakaway roper, to be able to take them out of school. I don't even know if you have to go out of school because, like, if you go to the Kimes Ranch during Thanksgiving anyway, what a great place to take your kids and watch some of the greatest roping in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And then just ease on up there to Vegas and watch that as well because within those 2 weeks, I think it's even less. Honestly, it's about a week, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So
right
basically
there.
Within a week, watching some of the best breakaway roping in the world. It's a great spot to go to.
Oh, yeah. And it was a good finals. There was a lot of girls that it was their first year this year at the finals, too, that showed out. Yeah. Just like Riley George, first round.
Got the dub.
I don't remember if she was 1-8 or 1-7, but I was like,
it on them. Yeah.
Dang, this isn't going to be as slow of a finals as I think it is. It's about to be, you have to blast right here.
Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, let's talk about your route to get to your first NFBR. Because I've heard a lot of entertaining things. Basically, I don't know if Martha grabbed you by the hair and entered you and pulled you there. But so when you come here to college, and are you finding out like, okay, when I graduate, I'm a badass breakaway roper, whether you say it or not, everyone said it. But like, what was your route? What were you kind of wanting to do? Were you not sure? Did you want a rodeo? Was the fraternities kind of there? Where was your route that you were wanting to take?
It started in 2022 at the WPRA finals.
She didn't even want to enter
How
it.
did you get to the WPRA finals? Because that's what Jackie said you need to ask her about how she got to the WPRA finals.
How did I get to the WPRA finals?
I don't remember. This is your story.
I
I'm
thought
just
I
on the
heard
sideline.
basically Big Sister said you're going to enter this.
Oh, well, I told her she had to enter it because she would never enter the WPRA
Oh, yeah.
finals.
This was the first year I'd ever entered. And it was obviously it's like a qualifier for Houston and Fort Worth and stuff. Well,
How come you didn't want to go?
Just kind of far away. But,
In Waco?
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes from the house.
Anyways.
So when you graduated from college, like what were you wanting to do then?
Train horses. But the
So
futurity side
you
of
had
it.
really gotten into that.
Yes, like by the time I graduated college, I probably had close to 10 now, 8 or 10 horses. And that's kind of what I want to do, buy them, train them, sell them, whatever. But the futurity side of it wasn't big yet. Like, it's not like it was now. It was kind of starting in the team roping, but not so much the breakaway. So, Martha's like, you need to enter WPRA so you can get in the winter rodeos. I'm like, well, why do I need to get in the winter rodeos? I'm not going to go. And I ended up at WPRA finals. I think she started crying because we were first and second in the average.
Yeah.
I won the average, you won second. So that got me into Houston, Fort Worth, and I ended up winning enough money just at the WPRA finals to get into San Antonio. So I'm like, holy cow, I'm getting into the 3 biggest rodeos because
You're welcome.
Because then San Angelo and Austin didn't have breakaway yet.
Right.
So those were the 3 Texas winter rodeos.
And then didn't you also win the all-around? So you
Yes.
won the world in the all-around.
Yeah.
I'm mad about that. $400. Shouldn't have hit the barrel.
I didn't even enter the barrels or the tie down, and she did. She was so mad. Anyways, so I go to Fort Worth. We go to all those. I win like $35,000, and she's like, if you go, just win 30 more thousand.
And this is now 2023.
This is 2023.
So you
Been
go
to
to the
Fort
winter
Worth,
rodeos.
Houston, and San Antonio.
And win 30-some thousand.
30-some thousand. I'm like 4th in the world or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I don't even care, whatever. And she's like, if you go to get your rodeo count and win 30 more thousand, that's all you need, you will make the finals. And I'm like, nah, it ain't for me. And she, April or May rolls around. She's like, the book's open for Reno. Are you going to go? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, I'm entering you, and you can either pay the turnout fines or you can come with me. So I'm like, she gets me talked into it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going home at Cheyenne. Like, I'll go till Cheyenne if I have the finals made perfect. Well, Cheyenne rolls around. She's still entering me, like, after Cheyenne. She's like, are you going to go home? I was like, and by this time, like, I had 65,001. Like, I probably could have went home.
You had more than that one. You were like 3rd in the world at this point.
Like, I could have went home. But I'm like, you know what? I'm here and we have 2 more months. Like, I can deal with it for 2 months and try to, I might have a chance to win the world, And so I ended up staying all summer.
Your mindset was starting to change a little bit.
Well, and
Yes.
I was telling her too, not trying to interrupt, I was telling her too, the top 5 for sure get in the American.
So
You're
now
welcome for that too.
Now it's longevity, thinking, okay, this is going to get me there.
Yeah.
This gives me a chance to win the world. Now your mindset's starting to think, all right, I got a chance to win this whole damn thing. And
Yeah.
and I'm guessing you're probably believing it too, because everywhere you go and you're winning.
Oh
Yeah, I had it was an amazing summer. I felt like no matter what setup we went to or wherever, we'd either place or win. You know, of course we'd miss some here and there. Everybody does, but like it was pretty cool to realize that I could compete against all those girls. And you know, the end of the summer, I think I was 3rd or 4th in the world going into Sioux Falls. I didn't win a dime at Sioux Falls, and still I went into the finals 4th and ended up 4th. I knew going into the NFR 2023 I could not win the world because the money was not there.
It was too scattered.
The top 3 girls, she was 3rd. She didn't really have a chance to win the world. It was between Haley and Shelby that year, and that sucks because, you know, like we've talked about, the money is just not there. But, you know, going into the finals, knowing that, oh my gosh, I made my first finals, I can rope against all these girls. Like,
so what was that
cool.
like? Like I say, coming from where you came from, and then, you know, going to those little, what do you call them, 80 for 2s?
Yeah, 2 for 80s.
2 for 80s. You said 80 for 2, and I was like, yeah, I never heard it said like that.
Yeah, you know, that was the Virginia math.
That's what I figured it was there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, like say at 2023, these are the best girls in the world. And when I say you went there, you balled. Like it was cool to watch. You and D'Lo was going at it. People were coming out of I mean, that's kind of what, I thought, in my opinion, the performance that y'all put on there, it kind of electrified the hashtag ad breakaway movement that started kind of showing up everywhere, because y'all gamed out there. Like it was great watching, a lot of electricity, but you were part of it.
Yeah.
So how did that feel, getting that first NFR and then having that much momentum and energy after the NFR?
You know, that, like I talked about earlier, that, well, for one, I ride a really good horse. I don't think I could, you know, do what I do without that mare that I ride, but just the feeling, like you said, walking in the tunnel. I mean, we all know the feeling, but that first NFR, it's like, holy cow, like I've worked my whole life to do this and like put in blood, sweat, and tears to make it here. And then when I did ball out at the finals, even with Danny, you know, one of my best friends, like it was just so cool to be in that moment. And it's just like winning the American, like you never forget that feeling. And like sometimes you think about it and it gives you chills, or it even makes you tear up a little bit, because I think because of how hard we have worked and where we've came from to get there. But like I said, I'll never forget my first finals, and I'll never forget, you know, even the American or any of that. Like it's changes your life.
So when you talk about, basically you threw her in the rig in 2023, so y'all rodeoed together basically. So you're in the rig. What do y'all listen to? Does you guys listen to the same thing, or you guys listen to as different much things as you guys are different about everything else? Who has the dial? Who's in control of the radio?
Whoever was driving, but if I was driving, she would be sleeping. So, and when she was driving, I'd be sleeping for the most part, unless we only had to go like 2 or 3 hours or whatever. But we listen to similar music. She listens to some dumb stuff that I just skip. I'm like, makes you want to like Heartbreak City or something.
Well,
I don't like that.
Sometimes you get emotional. Okay?
Depressing. It's depressing.
Well, let's just say this.
So Taylor Swift?
Wow. I don't know about
Dixie Chicks.
Okay, Dixie Chicks is a hit, man. But we had the same Spotify for a while until she kept getting on my account. This was funny. Back in the day when I worked at a Cavender's in Huntsville, we had the same Spotify account.
Because I couldn't afford my own.
I controlled the music of the store. Well, if she would get on it, it would change the music in the store.
They'd be listening to Moneybag Yo instead of Dixie Chicks.
One day, this rap song comes on in the middle of Cavender's, and I'm like, oh shit. I gotta find where my phone's at, because I didn't have nothing. I was like, Sarah, I texted her. I was so mad. I was like, I don't care if you got to pay $9 a month. You got to get your own Spotify. You just played that through Cavender's. I'm going to lose my job. But we listen to pretty much the same music. I mean, there's some stuff that's a little too aggressive for me of hers. And apparently, you know, sometimes I'm too much
depressing.
of a girl.
It's depressing.
I like to sing terribly.
Makes me want to cry.
So, Martha, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite singer?
Oh, that's hard. Man. Are we talking about country, rap?
Well, I can tell you mine is Kid Rock. So mine goes along. He does a lot of different stuff, but that's my guy. Like when I'm jamming, finding to stay awake. I mean, I'll go through some 80s. That was my jam. I loved the 80s, man. I loved the hair bands. I loved AC/DC.
Yeah.
Metallica. You know, like oh man, Bon Jovi. Dude, those guys were rad, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Freaking Def Leppard. They still play it.
Hey, I still
pour
play
some
it.
sugar on me. Like, my stuff never died.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
no.
I kind of stick with that.
Yeah.
It works. I'm not going to mess with it. I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
tell you I don't even know if they play rock and roll anymore. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no, they do. I'm not gonna lie, my pregame song is "Me Versus Me" by
That's
Moneybagg
Yo. Do you
Yeah,
know who that
I
is?
don't
No.
know. Yeah, I figured you didn't know that one, but basically, it's telling you that it's you against you versus the world. So you got this, and that's
It's a
something.
good pregame warm up.
Yeah, like that's mine and Sarah's joke and Amanda's. I mean, we've even got Jackie on it sometimes too. So you'll have to ask her about Moneybagg Yo sometime.
Nice.
I don't even know if she knows that's who sings it. But I mean, I kind of like that kind of stuff. Our dad was huge into rock, and then he also loved Fergie. He would play Fergalicious at the top of his lungs
That's
and
hilarious.
say Vito-licious instead of Fergalicious. But one of her pregame songs throws back to Dad's days. She always likes to play "Here I Come" sometimes by Fergie. That's one of her go-to.
After I made
songs.
the finals, I played that song, and I was like, "Here I come, coming to the NFR."
But
So do you guys pick your song at the NFR still?
no, we've never been allowed to do that. It's probably a good idea. You know, I probably shouldn't pick half the songs I'd want to pick.
Mine was the riff from Kid Rock, The Prodigal Son.
I like. I would love to have "Fireman" by Lil Wayne, just instrumental though. Cannot
Right.
play the words to
Yeah,
that
there's
one.
not a lot of Kid Rock songs back in the day that you could go over the lyrics.
Yeah, I like the Eminem song too. Lose Yourself.
Lose Yourself.
Yeah, I would love that for a backup song.
What about you, Sarah?
I don't know. Kevin Gates is pretty good. I like Doja Cat too. Do you know who Doja Cat is?
Yes, he does. Freaking Journey's favorite song is Vegas.
Doja Cat sings that song.
Yeah, but how does that song go though? I played it I don't know how many times at the Hondo because she would quit crying.
I know.
The unicorn
yeah.
song. She called it the unicorn song. I didn't know what she
And
was
then
talking
she's
about.
also got another one by Lady Gaga. She called it the Awesome Song. And I can't hear very well. I don't know. A lot of the listeners, I talk about that a lot. I can't hear very well. And so Creed, man, he gets on YouTube all the time, and he follows Godzilla and King Kong all the time. Well, there's this, I think it's Bad Romance.
Yes.
Well, it's redone and it rocks. It's actually not Lady Gaga singing it. It's another dude, and he
Yeah.
sounds a lot like the guys from Canada. One of the last Nickelback.
Yeah.
Dude kind of sounds like Nickelback. So
Yeah.
kind of rock and rolled a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, this isn't that awesome song again, Dad. So like I go and just get it on Apple Music and download it.
Yeah.
And then it's actually got the lyrics where you can read it. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm letting my kids listen to this. This is horrible. Like, this is terrible. And then, of course, now, Dad, the Awesome Song.
Oh, yeah.
Can we hear the I'm like, gosh, dang it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At the Hondo, Creed kept wanting to listen to that Unstoppable song.
Yeah.
And then Journey's crying because we're listening to Creed's song.
They
I'm
remind
like-
me of you two. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I was
I'm
wanting to know who had the dial, because when one has it, the other one cries. When the other one has it, the other one cries.
You know, we don't cry, but we do complain. So we've got over the crying stage, but she'll look at me and be like, can we hit next?
No, I just change it because I'm like, this is terrible.
I was vibing to that. Not today.
She gets mad because I change it in the middle of the song. Like, I'll vibe for half a song and then I change it. She's like,
oh my God.
why can't we just listen to the whole song?
She will not listen to a whole song. It's like, basically, we might as well get on Instagram or TikTok and watch Reels, because that's what our songs sound
Just going on
like.
the shorts.
Yeah. Like, let's have 30 seconds of this song. Bleep.
Yeah.
So when you guys were traveling together, whose horse rode in the back? Because like that's almost seniority. Like the headers, we just kind of like when the healers jump in, like, all right, I don't give a, but mine's in the back.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the room is. Like basically whoever has a seniority, basically your horse is in the back. Unless there's a couple years there for a while. I had a couple of ones that was like, these ones suck. You can put them wherever you want. When I had Patron or Nasty or Sailor, when I had the good ones, like, all right, this one's in the back.
Yeah.
So who has the back? Who has the back?
I
stall?
had to have the back because my mare kicks. So
That'll do it too.
But Martha's horse, Jesse, kicks too because he ended up kicking her last summer twice.
Yeah, that's a bad subject. Can we change it for a bleep button?
But I always put her on the back because she kicks. So.
Yeah.
So basically, you two fight and your horses fight. That's very
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It happens like that sometimes. you know, they beefed it out. We beefed it out. And look at us all today. We all get along.
Here we are in a podcast.
Here we are doing it. Yeah.
Doing it. That's funny. So y'all team rope also. Martha, I seen where you and Jackie, it was a couple of years ago, won that WRWC
Yes.
$60,000.
Yes.
How cool is that to crack out the team ropes and just freaking knock them out for $60,000?
I love it. The thing is when I first came out here, I honestly team roped a lot more than I did breakaway. Because when we first came out here, I mean, the World Series was where the money was at. I mean, they had the all girls, yes, and everything, but to make a living with a rope, we'd go to the World Series. I used to live down in Weatherford in Brock, and Austin had the Tuesday night ropings down there where it was the 30 teamers, 12, 13. We would go in her, you know, the old 9 points sometimes. You just had to catch 2 of the 4. Like, we would always find a way to make money, and team roping was always the way back then and stuff. And I enjoy team roping. I really enjoy heading. Healing, when you don't heal every day, it's a lot harder. There was a lot of, you know, those whack, that video. Yeah. That happens a lot nowadays when I try to
Jackie
heal.
always said if she was ever going to hang herself, it was going to be with a heel rope.
Yeah. I would make sure it was a hard too.
I don't want to limp away from this.
Yeah. Some days, like, I'll literally, whenever we start practicing for the all girls, which are about to start coming up, I say I need a week of healing before I go in or anywhere, because I need to get all of it out, because it's just hard.
So when you basically head and you breakaway, there
Yes.
are 2 different swings, there are 2 different deliveries, 2 different slacks. Because I have a lot of girls that come to my clinics a lot all year long, you know, and I can tell if they've been breakaway or not just from their loop size, where they ride to position, where their swing is, things like that. What are some of the things that you do to keep from the breakaway leaking into your team roping and keep your team roping from leaking into your breakaway? How do you flip the switch?
With me, this is going to sound weird because a lot of girls don't do this, but in the breakaway, I use a lot shorter spoke than everybody. But whenever I team rope or I heel, I use a lot of spoke. And that's one thing that helps me keep my 2 way different. Because like in the breakaway, if you take a normal person's spoke and cut it in half, that's what I usually use in the breakaway. But when I head, I know a lot of headers, especially when they try to reach, which, you know, when the all girls were running to the hip, so I really don't need to use this aspect. But you have a lot more spoke and whenever you heel. And that's something I feel like helps a lot with, like, even like your tip or your angles of your ropes and everything like that is the amount of spoke that you have. And I feel like that's something over the years, like at the high school rodeos, we do it all the time and rope the same day doing breakaway, team roping, whatever. But now we'll have such a big event where, like the women's finals, where we got team rope and breakaway. And I don't even think twice about it affecting either one of my events right there because of how different I set up my swings and my rope sizes and my spoke and everything for all the events. And I know that's a lot to think about, but like for me, your angle of your rope changes so much, even just off of something little like your spoke. So that's something that helps me keep the 2 separated a little bit.
What about the lays and the lines of rope? So in your head, and what line of rope do you use and what stiffness do you use?
I use an extra soft. Most of the time I use a GT4. That's my favorite head rope, but I do like the Heats and I do like the Tritons a lot.
I like the GT4s a lot with the weight.
Yes.
The weight helps me a lot, and I would think probably breakaway and that weight probably does help.
Yes.
I'd love the speed of the Heats.
Yes.
Like for me, like I'm out here riding Colts and stuff, and when it's hot out and
Oh, yeah.
like that. The Heats and the Spiders, they're
Yes.
so fast, they almost swing themselves.
Yeah.
But man, game time for me, I love the body and the feel and the speed of the Triton because it literally does match my swing. Because I think a lot of times your rope and the feel does match kind of your style.
Yes.
And I do like those. What about on the breakaway side?
I change all throughout the year. You'll see me use it in the wintertime. You probably won't see me use anything but the Spitfire unless for some reason I forgot my rope bag somewhere.
And you said that's the winner?
Yes. In the winter, I don't think you can beat those ropes. Those ropes are so fast. And like a lot of people say they're bouncy and all this kind of stuff, but I get so much action with those ropes. Like whenever I mean, unless I just missed it on one, usually I get so much action and curl comes right over top with those ropes with me. And I personally like it with how much I do like to reach. I feel like those ropes carry a lot better for me. In the summertime, most of the time I just have a striker. in the summertime. Sometimes I use the Vipers, sometimes I don't. The Vipers used to be the only thing I ever used, especially before the Spitfires came out. But in the summertime, I love the feel, especially like when we get to the Northwest and everything like that of the Striker in the summer.
Do you feel it's the weather that changes it, or do you feel the setup changes?
I feel like the weather does.
One's right there.
Yes.
So does one rope feel better when you know the calves are going to be right there in front of the chute? And then you get out in the summer, the boxes are longer, it's a little bit further. Is it the weather you feel that changes your picking ropes, or is it maybe the setups?
That I don't think the setups really have to do a lot with it, because like the year that I won the world, I used nothing but the Spitfires all year. But whenever I got up to the Northwest, they felt different to me. I felt like I had to stretch them more. I felt like I had to treat them like a team rope more. And it's hard to do that whenever you're not home because of the weather. Like if we're at home, yeah, let's stretch them. We can lay them all out over the living room floor, you know what I mean? But it's kind of hard to do that when you're traveling. And I feel like those ropes fluctuate more in the wintertime or the summertime than the Strikers do up north. I feel like the Strikers, when you pull them out of the box, stretch them one time, they're going to feel the same unless they got hung up in the back gate or something like that.
Where do you cut your rope off? Do you know how long you cut your rope off, and how many coils do you use?
I use 2 coils. How long it is, I really don't know. I take my rope that I've been using, I stretch it out, and I cut it. But like sometimes, now say if we're going to a walking fresh jackpot and the calves are going to be slow or something like that, sometimes I will make it a little bit shorter and everything. But
get that pop where it breaks faster.
Yes, sir. But I always have 2 coils. I can use 1 coil, but I feel like I have more range if I have 2 coils. And I honestly feel like that's just like almost like an Achilles heel from team roping so much, because I've always
used to having that much in your hand.
Yes. And that's just me. It feels better to me. It feels better than just reaching with 1 coil. I'd rather have 2 coils in my hand.
Sarah, what about you? When you go to team roping, you head, but you also heel as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of learning how to heel, because I've seen some of the best ropers that could do anything. You know, Caleb Drigger's healed first.
Mm-hmm.
Speedy Williams healed first. Clint Summers healed first. You go down the line of some of the best headers in the world, they healed first. And it's amazing, because I think there was Dustin Esquiza. You know, I think when your hand's higher, you know, your bottom strand better, there's just so much more range. It feels like when you learn to do that, you can almost do anything else after that. It almost feels easier. And because it's probably so damn hard to learn how to do at the first. And once you can kind of get that down, it's amazing what the rope handling does. So you head and heel, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what are some of the ways that you feel like you can basically decipher, okay, today, you know, breakaway and swing, breakaway and delivery, all right, heading? How do you separate those 3 events?
You know, mainly it's heading and breakaway that I struggled with for a long time. And for me, it was like, where's my tip at? Because heading, a lot of times I'll get them around the neck if they have small horns, because the closer I get, the more my tip wants to come down naturally from breakaway roping. So like, I think when I'm heading, I got to think about keeping my swing more flat and, you know, like at the base of the horns, not getting down like on their shoulders, on their neck. And as like breakaway roping, I need to focus on like their neck or their shoulder, like, that's where my tip needs to be. That's where I need to be. Like, and I feel like team roping, when I get closer, I get up over top of them and I get that breakaway swing going on. So I think that's the hardest thing for me. Heeling, I don't heel enough to even care about it, if you want me to be honest. But heeling, I feel like heel and swing is easier to go from heel and swing to breakaway.
I totally agree.
Where heading, you have to think about not top knotting in the breakaway and not roping them around the neck, which obviously it's fine if you rope them around the neck heading, but it's better, obviously, you know, rope them around the horn. So I always have to think, stay down and keep your swing flat instead of getting up over top of them and roping them around the neck. And then like breakaway, it's like, get your tip up, get down, get everything so you don't rope them around the eyes. So I think that's like the hardest thing for me going from heading to breakaway is like, where's my tip at? Where are my ankles at? Where am I sitting, you know, in my saddle? Am I up? Am I back? You know, heeling, I just throw it down there and hope they hop in it.
Catches 2 feet every time.
Yeah, it still does it. Yeah. What I've noticed a lot of times in the team rope and breakaway is, like, say, the angle of the swing, flatness versus too far down, and then also the, you know, whether your slack goes over the slack, hand goes over the slack, or if it goes under. Yeah. And then another one too I see is big is, you know, where you're always dropping that coil breakaway in. when you get in position team rope when that coil's slipping out.
Yeah.
Seems like there's so many things that you got to make sure, like, all right, these things here got to stay in order to be able to change from one event to the other.
Yeah, you kind of got to think about it.
Your swing's already down.
Everything's almost the same, not really, but kind of.
Your bottom underneath the feet, where your bottom's got to stay under the nose. It does seem like it does. Those two events do go good together.
Those are easier to. You don't have to think about it near as much. Heading to breakaway, you kind of got to think about it.
What do you change on ropes and lays and stuff like that? So when you're heading, what rope do you use?
I use an extra soft because I like really light ropes. A lot of people make fun of me, but I use the Radar a lot, or the NXT, the Heat, all those. Mainly Radar's probably my go-to. I'll use the NXT. It's a little heavier when we got like the bigger Sawyer steers, if we have to rope those. But Radar for sure. Breakaway roping.
And that's a pretty small rope.
Yes, it feels like a kid's rope, but I like them like that.
Probably a little bit where it's kind of close to the feel of the breakaway.
Yes.
But then if you probably rope them fast lanes a lot, it seems like those Radars are just another size up.
That's what I mean. Like a lot of people, when they take my rope off, they're like, "Man, this feels like a kid's rope," and I'm like, I like that because breakaway roping I use a 9.0, and I'm like, I don't even know a lot of people that use a 9.0, and sometimes they'll use an 8.5 if we're roping like jerseys and stuff.
And what line of rope do you use in the breakaway?
All Rattler, classic. I use strikers and Vipers. I flip back and forth. I used to always just use a striker. Like that's all I used my whole life. And I tried a Viper last summer for the first time, and I loved it. So I've kind of switched to the Vipers, but I do go back and forth.
It was funny a lot of times because everyone asked like, what line of rope do you use? And it kind of made me feel better when I seen Driggers had a couple different lays or lines that he would use throughout the year too. Because I would almost find my roping comfort level sometimes would come in seasons. Some of it was weather. Some ropes between the poly nylon blend. Yeah. Some would feel better in the winter where one would back up and one would straighten up or what. But like sometimes if I just could not find my swing, if I just could not, like it just feels like the power line I would find, or the GT4, my swing, I could find my swing again, just with the weight, just where I could feel the tip. And then sometimes my swing would get to going too slow. So then, okay, if I need to speed it up, that's when you kind of find those faster ones right there to kind of get you back ahead of your horse, whatever it was. And then, like I say, then you find those middles that is like, this one's rain or shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is funny how some of them kind of go in seasons.
She was definitely one that was always stuck on the striker until last year. I think you should tell that funny story.
Amanda Coleman threw a Viper away at a roping because she couldn't catch with it. She literally threw it in the trash. You know how her attitude is, so that fits. But I was like, always like, yeah, like it looked brand new. So I went over. I said, "Hey, are you throwing this away?" And she says, "Yeah, you can have it. I'm done with it." I pull it out. I used it at Reno. I win second at Reno, win around at Reno, and win second the average at Reno with that rope. I used that rope for probably a month. I probably use them more than most people do, but literally I probably won 50,000 with that rope. And I started using a Viper after that because I love the feel they had, but it was funny because she threw it away and she was all mad and I won 50,000 with it. But yeah.
What about the heel rope? Because I think a lot of girls that heel, when I asked, say, Wesley Thorpe, Logan Medlin, a few of them guys, when we talk about heel ropes, for girls, that's not going to be the same size rope. So like when you're heeling, what line of rope and then what lay of rope do you use as well?
I use the XR4 medium soft because I used to try to do the hard medium or medium hard or whatever it is, just because I thought, well, if I throw a sloppier loop down there, it's going to stand up and catch something else. But I just got to where it would literally wear my arm out. So medium soft, and sometimes I'll use a medium. I use the heat. I'll heel with the heats too. But like I said, I don't heel. Heeling makes me so mad. So like we talked about, if I would practice heeling, I would probably enjoy it more, but I literally pull my horse out, go to the jackpot. So usually the XR4 medium soft is what I go to for heeling, and then I'll use a medium or a medium soft heat. I just feel like it's, like I like them light, but obviously heeling, you want them a little stiffer so they stand up and stuff. So I feel like those two are always my go-to.
Yeah, something to have enough where you can swing it, where you can feel where it's at, but something enough where it has enough body when you set it in that's going to stand up.
Yes, sir.
So I love to ask y'all's, I love to get y'all's perspective of this. And, if you were to basically, tell yourself as that young girl that's coming from the East, that's wanting to come out here and make a name for themselves, like start with you, Martha, first. What what would you tell them? Because you guys have the blueprint. So what would you tell that girl trying to make it out here, coming from places that are probably not as much opportunity?
I would always say, and what I always say is, don't give up, because I got out here, I'm not gonna lie, I got my ass kicked. Like, I was going and being 2.6, 2.7. That would fly by, win everything back east. Out here, they're like, go home, bye, have fun. I mean, you go to a UPRA back in the day when everybody entered it, and I thought I'd make a good run, didn't really have a horse, nothing, and I just didn't have the chance. You know what I mean? Like, I had to keep working at it, and there's so many times that I've sat there and be like, why am I wasting my last dollar on trying to do this? Why am I doing this? I knew I loved the sport. I knew I loved roping. I wanted to do this, but I was always losing every single time I enter. It's like, okay, well, I got to be okay with just like here's $250. I'm not getting you back. You know what I mean? Like, that was something that I had to accept every single time I entered and everything. And it's something that I'll tell every girl. It doesn't even matter if you come from back east, up north, here in Texas, and just starting roping. Like, you're going to have your moments and your trials. And it's going to be that time where you go to the ropings and you just donate. But it's the work ethic that you put into it to see how far you go and succeed. And that's something, if I quit every single time I've wanted to quit, and I would have to use my toes to count how many times I've wanted to quit because I've given up my last $100, and I would not be standing here today or where I'm at in my life.
You think about it too, is like, man, if a guy takes that same attitude in anything that you do.
Yeah.
So one thing about rodeo and coming from being broken, you know, I think too is like how much you spend. You know, it's not like you go buy up some basketball shoes, some shorts, and a basketball.
Yeah.
You know, these horses are expensive. The shoeing's expensive. The feed, you know, the amount of uptake it keeps, where you got to work just to keep being able to do what you want to do. Yeah. It's a heck of it's a lot of an investment. But it is funny, like when you say, like when you finally hit that stage and you're standing up there, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
If you can survive this, you can survive anything.
Yeah. But the times whenever you didn't know that it was going to end up like this, those were the hard times. And it was hard to, even back then when fuel costed $2 or $1.80, whatever it was back then, like, still costed a lot to go to the rodeo, come back. That's $300 you're looking at. You know what I mean? It was less back then, but like, you got to think about that and your entry fees, no less, feeding your horse, tack, ropes, shoeing, everything. And like, it was something that wears on a lot of people, especially when they first start roping or first start doing anything in the rodeo world. And you just got to remember to keep your head above water and keep treading, and one day you'll go over the mountain if you put enough work in it.
Sarah, I'd love to get your perspective, because like I say, you guys both look at it kind of differently, but you guys both made the same end result. So what would you be able to tell that girl coming from other places on how to be able to get to the top?
I think, you know, obviously working hard and whatever, but I think finding people that'll help you, not being afraid to reach out to people and see if you can intern with them for 3 months, or, you know, clean their stalls just to be able to watch them ride horses and you know, help them at rodeos or futurities or anything. I've had a couple good people that have worked for me that I've been blessed to have, and I think they've learned a lot. And, you know, one girl from Italy came over and worked for me for 3 months, and
she cooks really good spaghetti.
She does. She just came back, and I haven't seen her rope in a year and a half, and her roping has improved so much, you know. And I think, I'm not saying it's because of me at all, but she took the time and watched me and helped me and listened to me, and then went and put it to work in Italy for a year and came back, and now ropes, you know, so good. And it's so cool to watch that. But I think, you know, don't be afraid to ask people for help. And even if you don't agree with what they say or it doesn't make sense to you, ask questions and take a little bit of advice from everybody and, you know, interpret it into your deal and get to where you want to be. But yeah, I mean, if you want something bad enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get it. So I feel like, you know, just putting in the time and the effort and not being afraid to ask questions and not being afraid to fail, because you're going to fail. So
that is probably the one that I could probably say that stuck with me the most, was me trying to work on it myself, not getting nowhere. Yeah. It's kind of like I felt like I was trying to, be in a canoe and I was paddling uphill.
Yeah.
Like I was working my ass off trying to get done, but I mean, whatever the mistake I was making, I couldn't see and I couldn't fix it. And I'm just paddling away and I look over and I got nowhere.
Yeah.
And it is amazing when somebody else brings another set of eyes, try this, ride your horse a little bit more like that. And a couple of those little things right there that can just all of a sudden feels like the boat turned around and now it just felt like you were able to just kind of get a groove and go with the flow. There is a lot to that. And then your guys' work ethic is, to me, that you can't go nowhere without it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think growing up where you have to earn it, I think there's not much of a replacement, I think, for that, because that succeeds in and out of the arena.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And I think that's something too, like how she was saying, learn something from everybody. Like that's something people feel like they get to where their peaking point is and they stop learning. And I think that's the point where you need to watch people, not even just like the best there is. I'm talking about the girls that are just starting. Everybody can teach you something. And that's something like I've learned doing clinics and all that kind of stuff. Like there might be something one of the girls came to learn from me at a clinic, but I can also learn something from her. And that's something I think a lot of people miss out in, little things that they can learn from everybody. Because you can take a piece of everybody and put it together and make something great. And I think as soon as you make yourself stop learning, I think that's when you start going back downhill. I think even when you feel like you're the greatest there is or becoming one of the greatest there is, I think if you stop learning there, that's when your road stops as well.
Plateau. What about, social media? So when it comes to all these girls wanting to watch a lot of the good runs throughout the year, Facebook, Instagram, what are you on?
Facebook, Instagram, I will say the Breakaway Journal does a great job on keeping up on all the rodeos during the year, and they also have that roping.com. And it's something, I'm not going to lie, I'll go on there and watch the other girls and see what they have to say, like when they're at the house roping and training and doing stuff with their roping, no less their horses and everything. Like I said, you can take a piece of something from everybody.
Martha,
and
do you have
something.
a subscription like on roping.com or to where you're coaching at all?
Me and Sarah are actually two of the coaches on roping.com.
So that's a good place where people could get some advice.
Yes.
What about clinics? I know you do some clinics throughout the year. Do you have any dates or anything like that? Or just have to stay basically glued to your Instagram and Facebook?
On my athlete page on Facebook, I'll post when I have the clinics and stuff. I usually have them this month, but like with San Diego and all of that kind of stuff, it's been hard for me to schedule one this year, but I will try to do at least 1 or 2 clinics this year. You'll just have to stay on my Facebook page about that.
Because when you're rodeoing, you're just trying to find that break.
Yes.
Seems like.
Which this year it'll be a little bit easier because of us only being able to go to 80 rodeos and stuff for this year. So I'll be able to do a couple clinics. I just won't know yet.
Probably spring.
Yes.
More than likely.
Or even like I used to have one in the middle of the summer all the time, but that week kind of got blocked off when they added us into more rodeos and everything, but I'm not going to be able to go everywhere this year. So,
Sarah, what about you? What's some things we can follow to where we can watch some of your runs? And then what are some of the things you're going to have? So I know you're going to have horses. We talked about you being on roping.com where you can get coaching. What are some things that, how do we follow you?
Facebook, Instagram, and roping.com. And I don't have an athlete page yet. I need to do that. I need to do a horse page, actually. Everybody gets mad at me for not having one. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram.
She's terrible with social media.
I'm terrible, though. You probably just need to watch me on the Cowboy channel because I'm probably not posting many of my runs.
But
what about horses? You've always got a lot of horses. You always move a lot of horses because there's so many people looking for breakaway horses. It's getting better where there's more people making them. But we all know like that the horses that you have are always so cool and so good. So people looking for horses, how do they get a hold of you to look at the horses you have for sale?
Facebook is probably the best way, and I'll post some every once in a while, but Facebook, and I can give them my phone number or whatever.
And emails?
Yeah, rodeoing94@gmail.com. That's my email if anybody wants it.
I'm not saying mine.
Literally made that when I was probably 10 years old, so don't judge.
Nice. Well, awesome, man. I appreciate the conversation. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
And congratulate. We're truly like that's a great career. What y'all have done, especially as early as y'all did it. So I'm very proud of yourselves.
Thank y'all for always taking us in like a second family too.
Yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy it. It is fun getting to know all of y'all in the rodeos, and then when y'all come rope, and I love watching the spar sessions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good. It's healthy. I love that stuff. It kind of takes me back a little bit. I enjoyed that part of it. And then, Sarah, thanks for cooking. Your desserts were real good. Real good.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, girls, good luck this year. Thanks for coming
Thank you.
on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ropers, are you ready to step up your game? My online course, The Basics of Roping, is built for beginners, but packed with tools to help ropers of all levels sharpen their skills. With over 2 hours of instruction, frame-by-frame swing breakdowns, when to turn your hand over to keep your loop open, when and where to let go of your rope so you can get the horns in the middle of that loop. Over 15 dummy drills to simulate real-life runs, you'll have everything you need to improve. Go to charliecrawford.training and follow the link under the course tab to get started today.